This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by the greatest modern decade of cinema. That's right, I said it. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob, and I have a guest this week. I know I teased online there was going to be another solo show, but for the first time all year, I've broken the chain. We are doing 2 back-to-back episodes with a guest, which is really good because I really want to kick off this 2000s phase properly. We did an episode with Gabby and Andre, and then we had the anniversary show. We haven't had a chance to go back to the 2000s yet, which is okay because I think arguably for most of our guests on the show, this is going to be the toughest list. For most of us, it kind of happened, the 2000s was our formative years, and in doing so, we just consumed so much media. And you're at that impressionable age where everything's awesome. Like, you don't realize that there are bad movies yet. So because of that, it's been quite the task. And because it's been so long since we've had consecutive guest episodes, we're doing double lists tonight. My guest is doing a list, I'm doing a list, and it's going to be fun. So please welcome back. And you know, I never do a huge fanfare for this guest. I think it's because I'm like, oh, well, I see them all the time, but not good enough because she could just say no and not do the show at all. So please give it up. Like, my incredible wife, Tina's back, and she's going to talk about her favorite movies. Welcome back, Tina.
Woohoo! Yeah, all the people applauding. Give it up.
You can hear the falling sand.
Yeah.
A little Encanto reference
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You know, you and I have both been sick, which is quite annoying.
Yes, they can probably hear it in my voice.
Yeah, so
And
we
yours.
started kinder, and so first day of kinder, she brought diseases back with her.
I remember we were standing there in the lobby, I guess it was, or where
Yeah.
it is, and I saw a little kid run past, little boy with a mullet, and he sneezed once, and I looked at him like, how long do you reckon it's going to take to get to us?
Yeah,
And within 2 days,
yeah.
Zoe was sick, and the 2 days after that, you were sick, and 2 days after that, I was sick.
And she's fine now.
She's fine.
Yeah, but we are still sick.
She's
Like hacking cough, like really bad sick.
I took time off work, which I very rarely do. I tried to avoid as many sick days as possible. And on Monday, I had to do it. And that was the worst day until Wednesday that became the worst day. And then Friday was the worst day. It's just been, I've been saying this phrase, like, it's schoolyard sick. You know, when you're an adult, when you get sick at work, you get a cough, you get a sneeze, you maybe need a day or two to get back, you know, to some semblance of normality. And then it might linger for, a week or so. Schoolyard sick is different. It hits and hits you everywhere. It's been gross.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show.
Yeah.
To the gross show.
Yeah.
It has been a minute since you've been on the show. I was doing the counting before. This is our 8th episode for the year, and you have not been on a single one of them.
Oh, I've just been busy, James.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah.
You didn't, for the first time ever, you didn't do a top 5 movies of the previous year, and we were going to do it. But on New Year's Day, you were like, okay, if we go and see this will be my 5th because I've only seen 5 movies.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to not do the episode with you, but then by the time we got all the other kind of reflective episodes done, I was like, how many more best ofs can we do? We've talked about it so long. Do you want to talk about your favourite movies of 2023?
I can't even remember 2023, James.
You didn't see a lot. I know you...
I saw... Oh, no, that was in January. I saw Wish.
That's a 2023 film.
That was shit.
Yeah, you didn't like it. I haven't seen it.
I did not like it.
That is a rare instance in the last couple of years where you've seen a movie that I haven't in the theatre.
And it was awful.
You took Zoe, but she enjoyed it, right?
It wasn't all... Oh, she was pretty bored.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was kind of like, when did we get to go on the slide, Mummy?
I think that's the downfall of the kids' cinema, though. Like, when it wasn't until the star came down because the star was the only good bit because he was cute and he was funny. Everything else was really boring. But I think also for you definitely, but for her I think Village had a wonderful idea. Like, we're doing a kids' cinema, so that way the kids will have other things to do if they get bored or they need to get some energy out. But it's like whoever created the cinema does not have children. Because I didn't realize that you've just given them a smorgasbord of distractions, so they're never going to want to sit in their seat.
Well, she was actually really good because she did pretty much sit in her seat the whole time.
But if she's
But
asking
she
you
was
about the slide the whole
no,
time.
but like it was because we were getting on in the film.
Yeah.
And you could see even before she asked about the slide, I could tell from her expression, she was like, this isn't it wasn't like she was watching Encanto. It wasn't like she was watching Frozen.
Yeah.
It was like her face was like really? I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I feel you, bro. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, I've been dying to take her to the movies, but there's just not been many kids' movies out this year. Like
Yeah.
Migration, I wasn't sure about. Like it's an Illumination film.
I should have taken her to see that instead of Wish.
And I think Kung Fu Panda is going to be too scary.
Oh, that's going to be too scary for her.
Like, there's a movie coming out in a couple of weeks called Combat Wombat. Like,
oh, okay.
That might be worth
That's
seeing.
cute.
And they're doing like a Disney festival this year for the movies that didn't get released due to lockdown. So Soul, Turning Red, and Luca are coming out. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that. But yeah, I think Kung Fu Panda. Otherwise, Garfield movie maybe. Maybe she wants to go.
Oh yeah, I think she liked the trailer for that because it played in front of Wish.
She'd probably like Garfield, I reckon. That seems fun. Yeah. And it's Chris Pratt, so it's probably going to be relatively enjoyable. So that was one.
I don't know what else I watched in 2023.
We saw Wonka on New Year's Day.
Oh yes.
Which I was surprised how much I enjoyed.
Yeah, same.
Still haven't seen Mean Girls. I've been to the movies a lot this year, like quite a lot actually. I've been really happy with the amount I've gone, but haven't seen Mean Girls yet because I've been deliberately waiting for you for that one.
Yeah.
So, I think it might be done now.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, I'd be surprised if that's still in cinemas.
It was on for a while. It was still there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I went to go see. What did I go and see? It wasn't the last movie I went and saw, which I can't remember what it was now. Oh, Madam Web was the last thing I saw.
Oh, yeah.
The one before. Yeah, I remember I was like, I'm going to see Madam Web. Like, what's that? Like the new Spider-Man thing? And you're like, there's a new Spider-Man thing? I was like, that's the way the world's been reacting.
I've not heard about it at all.
It's been kind of dubbed a colossal stinker, one of like the biggest flops.
Yeah, I've heard that it's so bad it's good.
Most people's reviews are not that. I didn't hate it. My biggest problem with the film was the villain, aside from his motivations and his story. Like the villain's just bad. But also, I don't know whether the actor is using his own voice or whether he's been dubbed. Because the way he talks is always like, I've got to get there before they get to me. Like, it's very, stilted dialogue, and it sounds like it's dubbed. But also, it was marketed completely wrong. They kept, in all the trailers, it's a Spider-Man film. All these Spider-Girls in it. And, it's not a Spider-Man film. Peter Parker hasn't been born yet, but his mother is in the film. And his Uncle Ben is in the film, played by Adam Scott.
Mm.
And
really?
Yeah, and I really liked him in it actually. What's her name? Emma Roberts plays Peter Parker's mum.
Oh, okay.
But there's kind of little references, but it's not that. It's this kind of Final Destination premonition style thriller.
Okay.
Where Madam Web can kind of see the future, but it's blurry. And she's trying to she kind of lives in the moment and then gets to repeat it before the events happen, which I think is a really cool idea. There's lots of things I really liked about it. It just wasn't marketed very well. If it was released in 2005, it would be dominating the box office.
Yeah, because it's released now.
Because we've been spoiled with really good Spider-Man movies and really good superhero films. It's a bit of a shame, but I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a bad movie at all. I thought it was fine. I think people have been unnecessarily tough on it. So you saw Wonka, you saw Wish. We went and saw Shazam together last year.
Oh, yeah.
That was last year. I'm trying to think what else we saw. We did see a couple of things together. I was going to say Thor, but that was the year before. You definitely saw... Oh, we watched Ninja Turtles together? On Blu-ray? Mm-hmm. And there's probably something else. I can't remember what else. But you watched a few. It was probably one of your least movie watched years, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say maybe the least since Zoe was born, because even when Zoe was young, we were watching stuff on Netflix, we were watching Blu-rays and stuff like that together.
I think that's different because she was just a blob.
Yeah.
And you're up at 3 a.m., pumping breast milk.
So that's what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like, all right, I'll watch this. Whereas from the second she wakes up, there is nothing. There is nothing. Not a second of the day is to your own. I was at one point, I was outside painting the fence today, and I just finished and came inside, and she wanted to hang out with me and stuff like that. She's just playing. She's just, playing by herself, playing with her toys. And so I'm like, I'm going to sit on the couch. I'm going to relax. Turn the TV on. And she's like, watch one of my shows? And I was like, fine. Nothing's ever your own now.
Super Mario was another thing you watched last year.
Yeah, that wasn't my choice.
No, well, it was my choice.
No, it was Zoe's choice.
No, you watched Super Mario before Zoe saw it.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, I brought it back,
okay.
and I was like, we can watch this, or we can watch this. What do you think? And you're like, let's watch Mario, and you liked it.
Yeah,
the first time
I did really like it. Yeah. I still do really like it.
Even the amount of times Zoe has watched it, because she's watched it more than either of us.
She's watched it about 50 times, I'd say.
Like, every time it's on, when I walk past, I'm like, yeah, I'll wait for it. I'll just watch for a few minutes.
Yeah, it is really good.
Like, it's well made. It's well done.
It is really good.
But I think also, we were talking about this a little while ago, not on the show, but just in our lives, that, like, you're right, with a toddler, you have so much limited free time that when you do want to do your own thing, you want it to be your own thing. Like, we'll hang out, most nights, but there'll be nights we're like, hey, let's just do our own thing. And if we're going to do our own thing, I'll often go to the movies on that. And you're not like, well, I'll watch a movie. You're like, well, I'll probably do something for me that is my passion.
Yeah.
Because watching movies isn't your passion.
No, that's right.
And that's not a secret. Or, like, if people, if you heard, like,
oh my God,
all the aristocrats gasp and, and, like, drop their spectacles. Like, no. Tina's been very vocal about that on the show before. Like, she likes movies, but not as much as me, and that's not a problem. Like, that's fine. But tonight we're reflecting on the past movies from the 2000s, as I mentioned before, from our formative years. We've talked about, like, you kind of going to Blockbuster and stuff when you're a little bit older and watching movies with family and stuff. Are the 2000s, would you say, a particularly important decade of movies for you? Like, what?
Yeah, I'd say so. Probably the most. Because, I think when you're a teenager, you watch a lot. Or maybe not teenagers nowadays, because I watch a lot of YouTube and stuff like that. Then I watch heaps of movies. But definitely when we were teenagers, like, you'd go to the movies with your friends every weekend or every fortnight, basically.
I wish that's what we were doing.
We went all the time. All the time.
My friends didn't like to go to the movies. I went to the movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to the movies, like, I would say, with my friends in high school half a dozen times.
Yeah.
In 6 years of high school.
Wow.
But, like,
we went all the time. Maybe not every weekend. Maybe, like, I would say at least once a month we went to the movies.
I would say I went to the movies with Josh more last year than I did the entire time we were in high school.
I went and saw Black Hawk Down at the movies.
Good film.
All because my friend Sybil at the time was like, had a huge crush on Josh Hartnett.
Oh, Josh Hartnett.
And so she was like, we have to watch Black Hawk Down. So we watched Black Hawk Down.
That would be like going to see Oppenheimer.
I saw Jarhead in the cinemas.
Barbie you saw as well, I just remembered.
I saw Barbie, that's right. I saw Jarhead in the cinemas. And I will never forget it.
I still have never seen Jarhead.
I will never forget it.
It opens
because I was a teenage girl, and it opens with a scene of Jake Gyllenhaal masturbating in a toilet stall.
I was going to say, it opens very similar to The Whale, which I just rewatched, which is with a guy, jerking off.
And I was like, I'm like 15, and I'm watching this. So we watched a lot of movies, and like also it was pre Netflix, it was pre streaming, and so you would watch the movies come out on TV, and so you'd watch it free to air and everything, and that was really peak. Like, high school was really the peak, going to Blockbuster time and all that sort of stuff. So
TikTok, it's Blockbuster o'clock.
TikTok, it's Blockbuster o'clock.
I think that's a good point, because I think, like, in the two, again, like, I'm not saying this is obviously specific to our generation, but that's when you finally get choice. You're not just watching the stuff that your parents choose at the video store or take you to.
And also, outside of school, you have free time.
Yeah.
Like, you have school holidays.
Yeah.
To go to the movies with your friends. You have the weekend. And you don't have any risk. You don't have to fucking vacuum the house or paint a fence or drive to, wherever. You can literally just stay in your room and watch movies all day.
Well, you also live very close to a cinema.
I did live very close to a cinema. So I'd just walk to the movies.
When I was in my final years of high school, I lived across the road from Water Gardens, which was our local cinema. And that's when I started going to the movies by myself. The first time I went to the movies by myself, I talked about it on the show before, was I went to Sin City, and my mum drove me to Airport West, and I saw it by myself. because none of my friends had any interest in this weird black and white comic
Yeah.
book movie. And my brother and sister were too young, and my mum couldn't leave them at home by themselves. And then I started going to the movies by myself, and I was like, oh, so this is cool.
Mm.
But then I would say the most movie watching I did in cinemas would be in the tail end of the decade when we started dating.
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
when
We
we-
went to the movies all the time. Well, before we get onto that, I will also make
Sorry.
a comment on like, I remember the first time I went to the movies by myself was with Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and because I live so close to the cinemas, I'd literally I'd write a note to my dad, and I'd be like, "Go to the movies to watch Harry Potter," and then I'd go to the movies and I'd watch Harry Potter, and then I'd come home. The next day, it was like a Saturday sort of thing. Sunday, I'd be like, I'm going to the movies to watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I'd just go. And so I just for the years where Order of the Phoenix, Half Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, I don't think I think Goblet of Fire, I was too young still to go by myself.
That was.
But when it came out, I went and saw those movies about 6 times in cinemas. And I would say 5 of those times would be by myself.
Well, I didn't start rewatching movies in the theater until we started dating.
Mm.
Oh, is that no? That's not entirely true. I think I saw Philosopher's Stone 2.5 times in cinemas. But aside from that, I very rarely did the double viewing of a movie until we started dating. Because I know we saw Simpsons movie together. My dad was like, "Oh, I'm going to take you to the Simpsons movie," but we'd already bought our tickets, so we went. Then I went and saw it with him a second time because he never liked the Simpsons.
That's so bizarre to me that he took us. I don't remember that.
No, he didn't take you. It was just
Okay, he took you,
me
yeah.
and my brother. He didn't take our sister, which was strange. Because
But your dad doesn't like The Simpsons.
no, but he gets on a bandwagon. How we went and saw Book of Mormon. He's like, "Oh, I have to start watching South Park." I'm like, "You're not going to start watching South Park."
Yeah, there's no
And
way.
I'm not making fun of my dad. My dad is the show, of course, but at the same time, with The Simpsons, because he'd heard good things about it. And I'll say that about my dad.
Yeah, from Simpsons fans.
No, because it was all over the news. Because it's such a big event. The show had been around for 20 years, and suddenly,
I still can't understand his thought process of not just never watching the show, but actively going against the show. Of being no, you are never to watch this show.
Yeah.
So the difference between I don't like that show, let's turn it off, and no, you're not allowed to watch it.
Until I was old enough to start buying the DVDs, and he was like, "Oh," I was like,
well, yeah, you got your own money, it can't stop you.
Maybe that's why he didn't like me buying DVDs
because he didn't want you watching The Simpsons.
It was so fun. I was thinking about the other day. There was a conversation I had. A conversation I had multiple times with my dad. We would be like, "You need to stop spending money on DVDs." I remember I was 15 years old. He's like, "You stop spending money on DVDs." I was like, "Yeah, but I like movies." Yeah, but there are other things that are more important in life. And I was like, "I'm 15. What's more important in life than movies?" And then I look at I've turned my garage into a movie room, and I have thousands of Blu-rays, and I'm gonna listen.
Yeah, but guess what? You can still pay your mortgage, can't you?
That's the thing. And I think that's what he was worried about. I think it wasn't verbalized in the way, the clear way.
Yeah.
But I think his thing was look, you need to be responsible.
You need to learn how to be fiscally responsible and all that sort of stuff like that.
Absolutely. But I was just thinking about that. I was literally standing the other day, making room for an order of movies that just said, no, I went to a thrift shop. I just bought 10 more movies. I said, I'm it's so funny. I guess I never listened to that thing about stop buying movies. So I just was going to say is we started the second half of the decade when we started dating is when I really started going to the movies a lot. Do you remember the first movie we saw together?
Of course I do. Spider-Man 2.
Nope.
Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man 3, yeah.
I get confused between the two sometimes.
That's all right. I was
Spider-Man 2 came out earlier 2000s, didn't it?
2004.
Yeah.
It's funny,
Yeah, no. I know it was Spider. I knew, but it was just my brain kind of.
Do you know what's funny? As I asked the question, I'm setting her up. It's such a gimme here, and then you got it wrong.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But we went through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we saw heaps of stuff.
And what I
we would wag class to go see stuff.
Oh yeah, Hairspray, Captain America: First Avenger. I'm sure there's other things as well.
Remember when we saw Hairspray? It was also the Mubs and Bubs session as well.
Yeah, I've been to plenty of Mums and Bubs sessions since. They're great. Pardon me. They're generally pretty empty.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something. I forgot. Oh, can't be that important.
But yeah, we saw lots and lots of. Well, that was
I
the thing.
remembered
That
what it
was what
was.
our relationship was sort of built on.
I remember what it was. It
Mm.
was when we first. I think it wasn't the first time I went to the movies because I was late to the first
Yeah.
movie because I'd never driven to Knox before, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I don't know where I'm going. But after that, every time I went to the movies, I would be like, "Is it okay if we get like popcorn and a drink?" And you're like, "Yes, yes, it is okay."
Why would you ask?
Because whenever we went to the movies as a
Mm.
family,
Mm.
like you got 3 kids and a parent,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
we would always do the run to like Safeway or something and get
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
and
My
get
mum would do the same. Yeah.
but like and we but the dream as a kid is like, can we get popcorn and soft drink
Mm.
and ice creams and just like get all the movie food?
Mm.
And you were like, yes. And I was like, oh yeah. Because we have no financial
Yeah, yeah,
responsibilities.
yeah.
So we can just
So like someone would buy the tickets and the other person would buy the snacks.
and we
and
would
we'd
just
swap
like
over.
every single
Yeah.
time. Um
And that was back when 2 movie tickets cost the same amount as a movie snack combo.
yeah.
So like it was roughly what, $25 for the 2 of us, and then it would be like $25 for the food. You'd be like, okay, that's even. And now it's like $50 for 2 people and like $12 for food or something.
It depends where you go. Reading's pretty good. I spent $18 on food for myself at Reading last time I went. That was a popcorn, a drink,
Mm.
and an ice cream. But I had free tickets. It was all good. I
Yeah.
was happy to spend $18. Yeah, but that's where they make their money. The cinema, like they don't make any money off the tickets. It's all off the concessions. That's why they charge so much.
Well, I was
Um,
saying the tickets are more expensive than the concessions.
Yeah, the tickets are expensive as well, except for
Mhm.
Reading. They're not a sponsor, but I'll gladly take them. $10
Yeah.
tickets every single day. Like, what a bargain. Yeah, we went to the movies a lot. And like again, like that was up until COVID.
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
because even when we were living in Lilydale, like we had a cinema right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I would go to
that's
that
awesome.
cinema every week.
Yeah, you would.
I went every week. And if you went to the movies, twice a week.
Yeah.
Like I was going all the time. But I'm not doing exactly that, but I'm getting a couple times a month now, which is nice.
Yeah, that's good.
We should probably talk about some movies.
Yes.
Unless you have any final thoughts on the decade, like we haven't really
I
talked-
think first of all, I think it was an extremely strong decade.
Yes.
Like there are some brilliant movies made in the like you think 2000s and you go, oh, lame. But really not. Like actually some really, really strong, like wonderful Academy Award winning fantastic films.
If you're a fan of fantasy or science fiction, you're coming off
Or action.
you're coming off The Matrix in 1999.
Yeah.
The first 3 years of the 2000s, you get Spider-Man, X-Men, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, and those are just 4 movies.
Yeah.
That's how you're starting your decade.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. And
But
like,
even just like teen movies really seem to have got into their stride. So you had, things like Bring It On and Save the Last Dance and like all of those teen girl movies and everything. And then you had your teen sex comedies and things like that.
Well, you see, and I've talked about this so much, almost to death on this podcast now, but you see a shift in the sex comedy where you open the decade with things like Road Trip and American Pie, and then halfway through the decade you get Judd Apatow and you get 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad, and
Juno
suddenly, and the perspective shifts where it's still as raunchy as ever, but now the power is in the women's hands or the men's hands, and suddenly like, oh, this is a lot more friendly and less of a sex crime. Good. You get like a resurgence of horror. I actually don't have any horror movies on my list for the 2000s, but it's like a decade of remakes. They're like, we're going to reinvigorate all these franchises. They remade everything. They remade Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Hills Have Eyes and House of Wax and The Hitcher and all like everything got remade in the 2000s. It was a huge, huge decade.
Like if I think to myself between 2010 and 2020, I think that would be, not having seen a list of films, to me in my mind, my gut instinct is that is a weaker decade than 2000 to 2010. Because my mind is like, it's just dominated with Avengers, which is brilliant. But I feel like everything that's on the periphery is just kind of a bit,
I think the 2010s is a strong decade, but the 2000, 2010, you're still at the video store. And because you have the video store, and this is like one thing that Netflix can't do, and what Netflix can't give you is the ability to go in to a physical location, spend your time browsing, knowing you're there for a purpose, have a chat with someone about what's the new release, what's kind of like all of that is gone. Like Netflix, you can browse, but you're just scrolling down a screen and you're not spending any time. You're just looking at the poster art, who's on, okay, next one, or something.
Or the little trailer that plays.
Yeah, which never cut very well.
No, it's very annoying. I always put the TV on mute.
So because you have the video store, any movie that doesn't do well in cinemas has a chance to make money a couple of months later when it hits video and DVD. But also, studios are more confident in backing weirder movies. You get the $30 million rom-com. Like, think about how many rom-coms J-Lo was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, they're not making those anymore.
No.
Like, those kind of movies. You get all these weird kind of independent films. And independent cinema had a bit of a boom in the 2010s, and it is coming back again now. But in the
Garden State, Eternal Spotlight, whatever.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, thank you. Sideways, not Trainspotting, Lost in Translation.
Absolutely. And that's, again, like we were just talking about the start of it, like you've got The Departed right in the middle of the decade.
Yeah.
The end of the decade, you get The Dark Knight and Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's how you're closing out your decade.
That's right.
I think it's just got so much diversity, and that's what it is. Like, honestly, you could just pick one year out of that decade, and I could build my top 5 around that year.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
what I mean by it's so strong. It's got so many fantastic movies, so many strong contenders.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And there was a lot of direct-to-video stuff as well, so you get all these movies. School of Rock came out in the 2000s. Just keep going. And we haven't even talked about, the rise of Pixar. Like, Pixar starts in the 90s, but from 2001 onwards, you get Monsters, Inc., you get Incredibles, you get Up, you get Cars. Cars
is good.
Yeah, it is, but it's probably on the lower tier in terms of Pixar stuff. There's just so much content coming out in the 2000s, and there's literally something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go wrong in the 2000s. I think that's a good point that you made.
Yeah.
And then I just took over.
No. I don't think so. I think that's.
That's what I do. Alrighty. So we're both going to do our lists. Now, I'll be honest, I'm looking over my list. I'm very happy with my list. But if I spent more time, I would probably have a completely different list as well. Like, there's just so much going on there. I think some movies on my list will surprise you, but I think most of them, I don't think any of them you expect to be on my top 5.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll be surprised by most of them.
Yeah.
But you're the guest, so why don't you start us off? What's number 5?
Do you want me to start off with my list?
Yeah, and then we'll do honorable mentions.
And then we'll do honorable, because I have 11 honorable mentions.
I threw a couple in, but I don't have
It was so hard to choose.
Yeah.
So hard to choose. All right, so number 5. Now, I haven't done this in... I suppose I have.
Yeah, mine's kind of in order.
Yeah, kind of. I guess so. So my number 5 is Gladiator.
What a flick.
Fucking love that movie so much. So much. Is it this year that they're coming up with the new one?
Yeah, Gladiator 2. Maximus Returns.
Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh my God. If it was.
Give it all the Academy Awards right now.
That movie.
Pedro Pascal's in the new
one.
one.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That movie is just... I remember the first time I watched it, it was somebody had bought the VHS. You know how you only had a small selection of VHS tapes or something like that?
In your house? Everyone only has 6.
Yeah, sort of thing like that. So Gladiator was one of our 6.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it, and I was in year 7 at the time, because it came out in 2000. Oh, no, I must have been grade 6. So I was somewhere between grade 6 and grade 7. And obviously it is a pretty intense movie for someone who is 12.
I was the same age when I didn't see all of it, I saw bits of it around the same age as you, yeah.
Yeah. And it's because, put aside the blood and gore of it, You've got the whole like Joaquin Phoenix trying to have sex with his sister storyline and threatening to kill her and
when in Rome.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I remember
that's the name of the episode.
That was the first. There you go. That was the first time I'd watched a movie and been like, "This is cinema. This isn't just a fun story that I'm following. I'm actually watching something that has cinematic value. The way that it's been shot, you know, Ridley Scott." Obviously, like I didn't know about Ridley Scott back then, but it sort of occurred to me, the director is thinking about like metaphor and thinking about like soundtrack and the way that the light hits and certain angles and mise-en-scene. And obviously I didn't know those words then, but I experienced it. And just like the beauty of it, like, oh my God, when he's like at the end, you constantly see that hand in the field of wheat and understanding what that means about how it's the afterlife, and he keeps thinking about the afterlife and how close he is to it. Is he close to it? Is he not close to it? And, you know, when he finally gets there, he greets his children and, or not children, his son and his wife. And just like, it's just fantastic. The soundtrack is so fucking good.
You know who does it?
Hans Zimmer.
Which people, I like, if you're into film, you know that, but a lot of people don't know that.
No, I didn't know that until last year.
They're like, wait, the guy did The Dark Knight?
Yes.
It's like, yes, the guy has a range.
Yes.
Like, he does. And same with Interstellar. That's another soundtrack he does, which is so vastly different to what people expect Hans Zimmer to do. But yeah, the soundtrack to Gladiator is gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
And what I love what Ridley Scott did with it, because anything set in that era, in that backdrop, has the potential to be very bland to look at. Like, it's very monotone. It's like you got beige, you got brown, you got sand.
Color tone.
But he manages to paint it in a way that's just so visually engaging every single time.
If you think about it, think about the scenes now where you have Joaquin Phoenix as the Emperor, he's always in these blues, these dark blues, these dark, rich navy sort of colors. Whenever it's his scenes, other than the fight in the Colosseum at the end with Maximus, but like that contrasts it really, really well because you do get these, you know, beiges and creams and things like that from like the fields of wheat and from the stones and stuff. I remember I used to watch that movie so much. I would quote "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius." I can't remember it now, but I used to know every single word of like legions something to the true Emperor of Rome. Marcus Aurelius.
And I'm going to bed.
Father to it, yeah. And
it was like, you just crossed it over with the Hermione one.
No, it was to cross it. There's father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I should get my vengeance in this life and the next. And everybody would be like, woohoo, Tina! But I loved it so much. And it was M15 plus. And my parents would just let me watch it.
Yeah, it's interesting. The way the ratings work in Australia is very different to internationally. We have the best ratings in the world, by the way. I stand by that. Ours are very similar to the UK, actually. They're the best ways done. The American one's dumb. But at M15, you can watch it if you're not 15, but it's recommended.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I saw it on a laptop screen at a friend's house. It was the first time I was introduced to the idea of movie piracy. I was like, what is this? And they showed me like the Colosseum where the guy gets cut in half.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd seen any TV violence.
Yeah.
Because I got very sheltered when it came to TV and movies.
Well, you weren't allowed to watch Itchy and Scratchy, were you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember saying that, I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
And just even just the trailer, like the whole, like, you know, he pulls the gladiator, like, pulls down the mask and it's like the metal face behind it. Like the costuming was fantastic. I remember there was this, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before, but there was this documentary that we had on VHS that I taped off the TV, and it was a documentary about industrial light and sound.
Yeah, Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic, thank you. and how they did like special effects for Star Wars and all that sort of stuff like that. And part of it, in the documentary, they were talking about Gladiator. And what they did for Gladiator, no. Yeah, so they were explaining what they did for Gladiator, how they, like, filmed a small section of actual people in the stands and then just copied and pasted it. And obviously that's so rudimentary for us now. But back then, like, you know, in 1999 when the film's being made, you know, that's really, you know, pushing the boundaries of special effects and all this kind of stuff like that, because they needed it to look different. It couldn't just look like it was a repeated thing and all these these Roman men in the crowd and stuff like that, having the same repeated actions. So they'd have to like swap it around and change it and everything. And they'd film them like individually and then like cluster them together and then create little like pockets of them and then repeat those pockets and stuff like that. So it was really just like very, very, very cleverly done.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie.
No, absolutely. That's solid. Yeah, I was just
one of my all-time favorites. It's one of those movies where second it's on, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch it. I have to watch all of it.
And it's not one you need to watch regularly. Like you can watch it like once every couple of years and stuff like that. Because it is like challenging.
Yeah,
like
it's
not
heavy.
Yeah, it's a heavy flick. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not as heavy as say like Schindler's List, but it will like kind of make you like, oh, this is awesome. But it's like I would put it on akin to like Braveheart, where it's like this is great, but also everything is sad. So let's come back to this. But I remember the last time we watched it was I think pre-pandemic. Just one night we would go through Netflix. And like, I really want to watch Gladiator. And I was like, let's do it. Let's go for it. I think it's actually the first time we'd watched it together. But yeah, Flick is brilliant. Excellent. Number 5. Cool. So first up on my list, before I go, obviously, I think this goes without saying, but I never repeat myself. So you're not going to hear me talk about Lord of the Rings tonight. You're not going to hear me talk about Hot Fuzz. Without a doubt, those flicks would be on my list. But I've already talked about them. I won't be talking about like Inglourious Basterds either. Obviously, that would be on my list as well, and Kill Bill. So number 5, I think this will surprise a little bit, maybe not. It's Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl.
Oh, really? Yeah. It is a great movie.
It's a great movie.
It really is a great movie.
Like, it came out in 2003, and you hadn't seen anything like this before.
No, that's right.
Like, I mean, in a way, tonally, it feels very kind of Indiana Jones, but we hadn't had one of those since the 80s.
Yeah.
So I'd seen them as a kid, but we hadn't anything new. And, like, Johnny Depp I didn't know who he was. Like, he had kind of this big career in the 80s, early 90s, and then he hadn't gone away, but he was doing smaller, weirder stuff like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then for like, this vehicle to come along, like he got thrust into the mainstream again, and I would say it became a career-defining performance for him.
Oh, absolutely.
And not only that, like, I don't know if you know this, but he was nominated for Best Actor that year for that role of Jack Sparrow. It's such an entertaining watch. I just rewatched it last year, and it holds up so well. The cast is incredible. So first, obviously, Johnny Depp is brilliant in all the films. I actually watched the original trilogy in the last 12 months, and 2 and 3 I didn't like the first time I watched them. I really liked them the second time around. They've grown on me. You've got Orlando Bloom, who when this movie came out, I'd only known him as Legolas, and I'd always seen him as a very serious actor because Legolas is a very dry role. There are some jokes in there, but he's quite serious and quite monotone. And that's not a criticism. That's how the character is. That's how you want him. So to see him have a little bit more ambition, a little bit more kind of grunt as Will Turner, like in that movie, the first time we get to see him in action is when he's having the sword fight in the blacksmith room with Jack Sparrow, and they're like climbing on barrels and stuff, and like there's the hot poker, and like every time they strike, sparks fly. Like it's so brilliantly set up. Like it's almost like a cartoon come to life.
Yeah.
You've got Keira Knightley, who I think is really good in all the movies, and her role as Elizabeth Swann, I think, is very ahead of its time. She has a lot more to do in those movies than people give her credit for. Like, I was watching it, like, in the trilogy, like, in the second one, there's this whole, like, storyline where Will thinks that she's cheating on him with Jack Sparrow, but she's tricking him so that, like, she can save Will and all the pirates and stuff like that. And she becomes the Pirate King in the third movie. I've forgotten about that. So she's great in it. Obviously, Jeffrey Rush as Captain Barbosa is incredible. Like, he's such a wonderful performance. And then just every little character actor stuff peppered throughout is just like perfectly cast. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when I saw it in theaters, and it was one of those school holiday movie trips. I went and saw it. I think I went and saw it with my grandma. Like, she took us to see it, and I came out and I was like, I can't believe what I just saw. And when I came back to school, the first day I was talking to my friends, and we'd all seen it, and we're like, did you guys happen to see this Pirates of the Caribbean? I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this movie. Like, pardon me. Like, the whole idea of like this cursed pirate crew who they stole this gold, and so now they're the undead, like they're immortal, but it comes with the price of their skeletons and stuff like that. And then the music, like,
yeah,
I would say
iconic.
Yeah, up there, up there. Obviously, kind of pre-2000s. You got Star Wars, you got Indiana Jones, you got Jaws, and all John Williams stuff for the most part. And then in the 2000s, I don't know if there's a lot of obviously Harry Potter comes to mind, Lord of the Rings, but I don't know if a lot of new movies or franchises brought some really iconic music off the top of my head. Obviously, much later, Avengers has that score, but I couldn't tell you the Iron Man theme, or like the Dark Knight theme. But Pirates of the Caribbean, look, it's got that swashbuckle it's so fun. It's got a nice little edge of horror to it. It's not too scary, but definitely is a nice introduction to kind of some horror stuff there as well.
I think what's frustrating is that because there's now so many Pirates of the Caribbean movies, what's happened is in people's minds they've kind of gone, oh, they're so lame. Oh, there's too many. Oh, another one. Oh, I'm sick of it. And you forget how good that first one actually is.
Yeah.
If you put yourself back into only the first one having existed, and not the other, and the other ones are good.
I've seen all of them. I've seen all 5.
Yeah.
And they do progressively drop in quality. There's no bones about it.
But there's a reason why they made 5, because
the audience
the first one works so well.
Yeah, and it's just what a great character Jack Sparrow is. Even though it has been kind of done to this point, just again, you hadn't really seen anything quite. He's such such a modern day kind of rapscallion, just getting into mischief. He's got those great speeches where they never quite get finished because of falling off the pier or getting interrupted. I just think it's a masterpiece. I just think it's so well done. Not only is it fun, it's the fourth mention of the word fun in this topic, but also it's just visually stunning.
Yeah, the cinematography is great. The special effects are amazing.
Yeah, and look, the CG has aged a little bit, but it is a 21-year-old movie, so you can give it some leeway there. But all the boat stuff, I don't know, I feel like we've never, of all the topics you can make movies about, all the kind of the classic landmarks you think about, cowboys and spaceships. I don't know. I'm getting off track. But pirates, I feel like there's not a lot of pirate content out there, but we don't need to because they just knocked it out of the park with this one so well. I think it's excellent. It's so enjoyable. I was thinking when I watched it last year, I was like, man, I can't wait to show Zoe this. I was like, I have to wait 10 years so I can show her this.
Yeah.
Maybe not 10. Maybe she needs to be 10. But it's so good. And so thankfully most people are kind of you know what, the first one's good and the rest are whatever. But for those who have written off the entire franchise, go back and see one. One is so good. It's pretty flawless. So I had to give it its dues because it's such a great movie. So that's my number 5.
Cool. All right, well, my number 4 is a movie that I actually had to watch for English when I was in year 9, I think it was. I think it was year 9. It might have been year 10. And it's Billy Elliot.
No, I don't want to be a ballet dancer. No, I want to be a ballet dancer.
Yeah, I love this movie. I remember watching it in class and just falling in love with it from the first scene. The first scene where he's not even the first scene, it's the credits. And he's jumping on his bed and they're playing I was dancing when I was 12.
Jamie Bell? Is that?
It is Jamie Bell. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. And it was just like this really, I'd never seen like this gritty version of England, this gritty portrayal of like working class England. The thing that really made me fall in love with the movie was the soundtrack. The soundtrack is fucking great.
And is it Julie Walters?
It is Julie Walters, yep. And the soundtrack is just fantastic. And there was, I think that's the thing, like, because when I was in class, there were a lot of students who didn't like it. Because they were like, what the fuck is this? This is boring. This is shit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's another word that's getting thrown out by the boys as well, yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, no. You guys don't understand. Like, this is really clever and really well done and really beautiful and really poignant. And, like, just the gravity of, you know, like, is just this boy. This boy who, because of his circumstance, because of his living situation, because of the fact that he's a boy, and, you know, like his dad's a single dad and everything like that, and money's tight because coal mines are closed because of Thatcherism and stuff like that. All he wants to do is just dance, and he's not allowed to, and, you know, it's a sissy thing to do and all that sort of stuff like that. And just the way that it ends, and that beautiful ending of like his dad and his brother going to see him when he's like playing on the, like in the National Theatre in like on a world's, like it's just fantastic. The way the movie is shot is so good. I mean, we all love anyone who loves Billy Elliot all love that tap dancing scene where he's just tap dancing down the street. He's getting all his frustration out. He can't stop, and then he smashes into the wall, like punches the wall, and he punches it. It's just so good, and it's so funny, but it's funny in a really dry and sarcastic way. Like, it's just like, and as I've gotten older and I've watched the movie back, like I've picked up little references where I go, oh, that's actually a really funny joke. Just wonderful, just a wonderful story, really beautiful story. And then I went and saw the musical.
We saw it together.
We went and saw it together.
I remember because you meant to go with a friend, and the friend bailed the last minute. I was driving home from uni, and I had to call my dad. I'm like, hey, so Tina has tickets to this theatre show tonight, and her friend's bailed on her. Can I go? And he was really like, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing that I think, not that it necessarily improves on the movie, but one thing I miss from the movie is the songs that Elton John wrote for the musical. Because I think they're all very good. And, like, you talked about that tap dancing on the street moment, the way they executed that on the stage with, like, the kicking the corrugated iron and stuff.
Yeah. The songs are just brilliant. And just, like, it was...
Solidarity?
Yeah, Solidarity is great.
Yeah.
And just, like... just Jamie Bell's performance is so natural and so earnest, and you just watch his face, and you watch like how he's always so close to just like breaking, you know, so close to just being like, why can't I just do the thing that I want to do? Why is it that I can't just do the thing that I want to do? It's just beautiful. It's just a wonderful film. How do you feel about it?
I really like it. I haven't seen it in a long time, which is why I've been a bit quiet, because I don't remember the movie that well.
Yeah.
I remember the ending, obviously, because the ending, like, because that was one of those movies where when it came out, I probably would have been one of those people like, oh, what is this? And you were like, no, you don't. You got to watch it. And like, because I hadn't entered my snobbery yet. In fact, you introduced it to me at the perfect time, because I was like, started to just show interest in everything. I'm like, just show me any movie, I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And I remember that ending and just like they holding back tears. But oh my God, like I can't believe this movie about a boy dancing has affected me in such a way. So I think it's excellent. It's been a long time. I was just like looking up, I wonder this Blu-ray, man, I'm going to get this one.
But it's also just like the father-son relationship and everything. Like there's this, like I get the joke now. I obviously didn't get the joke because I wasn't because we're not British or anything like that. We don't know who this person is, but like there's that bit where he finally gets caught by his dad dancing ballet and stuff like that. And Jamie Bell's like, or Billy Elliot, it's like, what about that Wayne Sleep? He was a belly dancer. And the dad's like, Wayne Sleep, because Wayne Sleep is gay.
Okay.
And so, like, Billy obviously doesn't recognize him as gay. And so he's just solidifying to his dad the fact that, like, ballet dancing is, like, a gay thing to do and all that sort of stuff like that. And so that's supposed to be, like, you know, this funny little joke that goes along with it. But just, like, it's just, it really, I don't know why, but it was really a film that kind of made up my personality a little bit. You know, it really kind of made me go, I don't know, maybe it's the whole follow your dreams aspect. Maybe it's the whole, like, you can, like, story of you can come from nothing and you can work hard and despite the fact that people, you know, around you say no, like, you go and try anyway. But I'm just thinking of the scene. It's beautiful, beautiful scene. Because, like, obviously, like, the dad's not working because he's, like, on strike with the coal mines and everything. And he goes to catch Billy not going to boxing, right? And so he goes and he sees Billy dancing. He sees Billy doing his ballet dancing, and he just stands there watching him, and he doesn't say anything. And Billy's like doing his dance for him and all this kind of stuff like that. And the dad just turns around and walks out, and you're like, oh fuck! Like, the dad is like so angry with him, but he's not angry. Oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. He's not angry with him. He's walking because he's going to cross the picket line because he's like, I got to send he's got to go. He's got to go to the National Ballet. He's so good. He's got to go to the National Ballet School. And the only way I can do it is I got to work. So I've got to cross that picket line. And oh my God, it's just, it's so good. It's just so good. I just love it. Just love it.
No, nice one. Yeah, it's been a long time. I've only seen it the one time. That'd be the time that you showed it to me.
Yeah.
And then the theatre
Well,
version.
we're watching it again.
Yeah, due for a rewatch. Yep. Nice one. Well, like, when I tell you what my next question was, like, this is following up Billy. I like that beautiful, like, the way you kind of, you wax Rhapsodic, and I'm like, well, this one's really funny. This movie is a movie that, like, definitely in the 2000s was the funniest movie I saw in theaters. But even since then, very few movies have made me laugh out loud to the point of crying as much as this movie did. And it inspired impressions for 2 decades. It's Borat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, I know you've never seen Borat.
I've never seen it. I've only seen bits and pieces.
And unfortunately, like, we actually tried to watch it recently, about a year or two ago, and the way, like, Borat is a very misogynistic character.
Yeah.
And he, like, the time for your enjoyment for that film has kind of come and gone. Like, if you don't see it a certain time, like, I think if you had seen it in 2006, you probably would have appreciated it. But, like, now it's just like, oh boy, like, some of the jokes are tough. Although you did like the non-sexual jokes, like King in the Castle.
King in the Castle.
I have a chair, King in the Castle.
King in the Castle.
It's just on the next level, man. It's so genius. So, like, I knew nothing about Sacha Baron Cohen and the Ali G show. I'd seen Ali G in the house, having no context for what it was. Just wanting to see something raunchy. Like, that's kind of the way we all saw Ali G when we were teenagers. We actually all went to go see Ali G in the movies when it came out, but we were all 13, and it was MA, but we got confused and thought that if we had a parent there, we could go and see it. So Josh's mum bought the tickets, and then, like, 3 of us couldn't go in, so we just had to, like, take our popcorn back to his house. We couldn't watch it. But when Borat came out, I was old enough to see it. But yeah, just the idea that he went undercover and, like, no one knew that it was staged.
Mm.
Like to this day, like from what I'm.
So is it in? Sorry to interrupt you,
You're right.
but does he interviews people about America? He goes to America, doesn't
So
he?
the story is that like Borat is like a reporter in Kazakhstan,
Yeah.
and the kind of like the government in Kazakhstan are like, we want you to go to America and learn what makes America so great, so you can bring back to Kazakhstan, so we can improve our way of life and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But also you can impart our great way of life as
Mm.
well. And then like he gets set up with like a group of feminists. He gets like he sits down with like senators, and just like is just completely politically incorrect and like
Yeah.
misunderstands everything. What were you gonna say? Do you
Just the
remember?
bit where he's doing the national anthem.
Yeah,
And he's
all
like,
other
the potassium. He's
yeah,
talking
all
about-
other countries have
he's
inferior
talking about
potassium.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like it's raunchy and like there's really like full on jokes, like stuff that like what I laughed at when I was 18. Like now I'm like, oof. Like there's a joke where he's showing a photo of like him next to his son, and his son is naked with like a massive penis.
Mm.
And I'm like, that feels like, I mean, surely the kid would have had to be 18 to be
Yeah.
in the movie, or would have been like a Photoshop or whatever. But at the time I was like as an adult, I'm like, oh man, that's a tough joke to like
Yeah.
do. And like that's probably one of the worst jokes in it, like in
Yeah.
terms of that. But it can be so raunchy and full on, and then have really heartfelt moments, and also be so it's almost always at its funniest when it's not being dirty. Things like King in the Castle, something like that, or the inferior potassium thing, or like Do Not Shrink Me Gypsy, like things like that. It's insane, and like it's just, and there was nothing like it. Like we'd all seen kind of versions of mockumentaries before. We'd seen things like Spinal Tap, like you might have seen Best in Show, stuff like that. But Borat is so different because the only part of it that's fake is the character of Borat and his backstory.
Yeah, so it's not, no one's in on the joke. That's
No
the
one's
thing.
in on the joke.
Whereas all the mockumentaries, it's all scripted.
Yeah,
You know, this is not scripted.
that's right.
Mm.
Like there's that scene where they've got like the bear. I don't know if you've seen that, but like at one point they catch a bear or they get a bear for some reason, and like, there's the bear in the ice cream van with them.
Oh no, I don't think I've seen that one.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. But yeah, like then the whole idea is he's meant to go in part like learn as much about America as possible. Then he falls in love with Pamela Anderson. So like
that's right.
he's like, oh yeah, like we need to go to California, like,
Yeah,
and suddenly
right,
becomes
that's
like this
right.
story quest for love.
Yeah.
And she was in on the joke. She was the only one in on the joke
Yeah.
because there's a scene where he goes to like a book signing and he like brings like this like blanket and he's like, in my culture, like I give you a marriage blanket and then we're married. And she's like, oh no, thank you. And he's like, in my culture, permission is not required. And he throws a blanket on and kidnaps Pamela Anderson from like the record store. It's really funny, man. Like I think anyone listening to this is aware of Borat and is aware of how funny it is, but it's just I still can't get over like the stuff they got away with in that movie, and it just makes me laugh. And yeah, it's I would say probably the funniest film of the decade. It just it's insane. The Mankini, obviously that was a big thing.
Yeah.
I like every time like I haven't seen it in a couple of years, so I just keep remembering bits and pieces. So you brought Billy Elliot, which was a really like lovely poignant thing, and I brought the smuttiness of Borat.
Yeah.
And I do think it's Sacha Baron Cohen's best performance and best movie. Like Elliot G in the House is pretty fun. Bruno I've got Mick, like I think has moments, but it was kind of too much. Like where Borat kind of walks the line not too badly. Like Borat goes over Bruno goes over the line quite a bit where I'm just like, this is too much, this is too full on. Like this is like it's not that this is poor taste, it's just too much for me. I'm like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
And then Borat 2 was a surprisingly good sequel. I like that as well. But yeah, Borat is my number 4.
The only thing I know about Borat 2 is where he's got the frying pan and he's trying to like hit the virus. It's like, this is virus.
Oh yeah, he's in a cabin with these like redneck guys and he's trying to stop COVID. Like with the second one, he has a daughter, and because obviously Borat is more well known, she's kind of the conduit for the film. So like he'll send her out.
Yeah.
So they're both in scenes together. There's more about her, and she's brilliant. Like it was her first American film. And there's this scene. I'll tell you this quickly. There's this scene where like they go to like a debutante type thing where it's like where girls obviously can. Well, you know what debutante ball is like.
Yeah,
where girls
yeah.
can,
It's their coming out.
yeah. And so like, oh well, she
society.
never had the chance to do it, so we get to do it. And so she's doing like this traditional like Kazakhstan like dance, but then like it's revealed she's had her period. So like they keep like flashing to like a to that, and it's just like, oh my god, like it's insane.
Yeah.
But she's very funny, and then she was the voice of the dog in Guardians of the Galaxy. So
there you go.
So my number 4 is Borat, and I think that's one of the few accents you can get away with doing still.
Yeah.
If not, this show has been cancelled.
Shit.
What is number 3 for you?
My number 3 is one that you said that you weren't going to mention on your list, but guess what? We're talking about it.
That's okay.
Yeah. And it's Kill Bill Volume 1.
Oh, I could talk about this movie forever.
I know, right?
Have I mentioned the snow?
Your most favourite scene in all cinema.
Yes.
Yeah, so I specifically remember the first time I watched Kill Bill Volume 1. I was in year 10. It was a pirated, I can't remember if I've told just you this story or if I've told it on the podcast before, but it was a pirated DVD from a classmate. He had like pirated DVDs in his pencil case or something like that. It would have been like it would have been like 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah.
Like that. And he was talking about it. And I was like, what's that? And then some of my friends were also talking about like Kill Bill and stuff like that. They borrowed it and they're like, it's so good, it's so good. I was like, okay, well, is it cool if I borrow it? And they're like, because, you know, it was rated R. Like, I was in year 10, I wasn't supposed to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it in year 10 when I was supposed to either.
Yeah, exactly. And so I watched it and it was shit quality. It had like, I can't remember if it was Chinese or Japanese subtitles down the bottom. But it was in English, but it looked like it had been like filmed in a cinema. Or something.
It probably was a camera. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very poor quality.
It was like when Kramer and Jerry have to like film the video.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like. And I watched it on my laptop.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I was like, this is so cool. I was like, this movie is fantastic, and like, I'm watching a really shit quality version of it. And I just kind of like became a little bit obsessed with it. And then I remember my brother asked me, he goes, what do you want for your birthday? And I was like, I want the DVD of Kill Bill Volume 1. And he's like, I'm not getting you that because it's R18. I'm like, yeah, but you could be the cool older brother and you could get it. I've already seen it. He's like, I'm not getting it for you. I'm like, I've already seen it. Like, I'm not getting it for you. I'm like, fine. So he got me Kill Bill Volume 2 because that was MA 15+.
That is very George.
I know, right? I'm like, you couldn't just be chill for like 5 seconds. So I got that. And don't get me wrong, I love Kill Bill Volume 2, but obviously, like, I think Volume 1 is better.
Me too.
And so then once I turned 18, I'm pretty sure it was like one of the first DVDs I bought when I turned 18. Because I was like, this is such a good fucking movie.
It was the first
and I got it and I was like, ha 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 to George. I was like, see, I have it now. He's like, well, you're allowed to watch it now. And like, as you know, it's just fucking brilliant. It is so good. It was the first Tarantino movie that I'd ever seen.
Me too.
So this is the thing. I think because it was the first Tarantino movie I'd ever seen, when I then saw things like Reservoir Dogs and what's another one that I don't like?
Do you like Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction is fine.
A lot of movie fans are going to hate that response.
I know.
But I'm actually with you. I'm with you on that.
But because I saw Kill Bill 1 first, when I then saw those movies, I was like, oh.
Well, we talked about this. We did a whole Tarantino episode last year. Jason from Midnight Terrace came on because he's a huge Tarantino fan as well. And we talked about it. Like, if you watch them in order, like Reservoir Dogs, like, oh my goodness, like, look what he did with so little. And then you see Pulp Fiction, you're like, I've never seen anything shot like this before and a story told like this. And then Jackie Brown's just cool. And then he takes 7 years off. Like, 6 years off. Something like that, 6 or 7 years off. He takes a few years off. He comes back and you see Kill Bill and it's like a brand new director.
Yeah.
Like, it still feels like a Tarantino film, but visually he's matured. He's got this crisp lines. He's got like this incredible color palette. Like he's got these fun, like quick cut action things, and it feels exactly like a Shaw Brothers film from the 70s. Like he's just taken everything he loved and made it work. And again, like I talk about it so often, like I joked about this up. Kill Bill Volume 1 has the best shot, the best single frame in any movie in history, and I will argue it to the death of people. There is a shot in the House of Blue Leaves, I think it is, the Charlie Brown bar, where the bride is on one side in the snow, Oren Ishii is in the other. It's framed by, there's foley, so it's framed by like the building, and there's just like a little like fountain thing ticking back and forth. And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It is a perfect frame.
Just gently snowing.
But he couldn't have done that in any of his other films. It took until Kill Bill for him to be able to do it. So I understand you being like, oh, I don't think it's fine. Like I understand you going back to those other ones. Like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, because it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing. I expected Reservoir Dogs to be the same, and I'm watching it. I'm like, this is fucking boring. Like boring, because it was all talking. Whereas I know that's a mark of Tarantino films.
Yes.
But I really feel like Volume 1 is separated from that. 100%. Even Volume 2 has so much more talking than Volume 1 does. Volume 1 has like slades of minutes and minutes and minutes of film that has no dialogue. It is just visuals.
Well, 1 is very much a samurai kung fu film, and they're not known for their dialogue.
Yeah.
And then Part 2 was like, we need to fill out the backstory. But, you know, you do get some cool bits in Part 2, like the whole Pai Mei stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I do like Tarantino's dialogue. I can see why. Like,
I like it too, but I don't want to watch 20 minutes of just the same conversation.
Yeah. See, I could do that. I don't mind that.
There's got to be something that then happens.
Yeah.
Something then has to happen.
Yeah.
But like it was the first time I'd ever seen a film where all of a sudden it just became anime.
Yes.
And then went back to film again. It was the first time
only Lizzie McGuire previously had done it.
Yes. It is the first time I ever seen a film where it just went to black and white.
Yeah.
And then went back to colour again. I was like, those are such interesting choices.
Or the blue and black, with the blue through the silhouette.
I was like, I didn't know you could do stuff like that. And like, what I mean by that is obviously can do stuff like that, but I didn't know you could get away with doing stuff like that. You know, and just be like, oh, you don't have to just have a movie be like that if you want to. You can, if you want to make that scene black and white, you can fucking make it black and white if you want to. For the stylistic choices and everything. And, you know, like, I mean, I dressed up as Go-Go for your 21st birthday party.
Yeah.
So it was just cool. It's just such a cool movie. And yes, it's long, but it doesn't feel long.
It's not. It's an hour 45.
Oh,
it's actually one of his shortest movies.
Why did I think it was 2 hours?
No, it's combined. If you watch both of them, it's like if you watch both of them together, it's about 4 hours. Yeah. And let's be honest, if you're watching Kill Bill, you will often watch them both back to back.
And this was
an hour 51. Sorry, but so it's still less than 2 hours.
And like, I didn't know who Uma Thurman was. I didn't know any of the actors in the film. I didn't know Quentin Tarantino. I didn't know anything.
Did you know the name Quentin Tarantino?
No.
Really? Okay,
no,
interesting.
Nothing. All I knew was the boys in class was talking about how this movie was like badass. And I was like, oh, like, I'll give it a try. Sure. Sounds cool to me.
Yeah. It's still, to me, his best film. Like, Inglourious Basterds comes very close, 2009, so you could have picked it. Maybe you have.
I put Inglourious Basterds in my honorable mentions.
Yeah. But
I know, you know what? I think it is. I think if Inglourious Basterds is 99%, Kill Bill Volume 1 is 100%.
Inglourious Basterds is more dialogue.
Yeah.
A lot of dialogue.
Yeah. But I am also really into World War II content. I think that's very interesting content to me. But yeah, just like I just remember like my mind being blown by this and going, this is
Did you know Lucy Liu?
amazing. Oh yes, I knew Lucy Liu. Yep.
It was so cool seeing her play a
So if
villain.
anybody else have anything to say, now's the fucking time.
She's so good in it.
She's so good in it.
So good in it. And like,
and that was the thing, like, I knew her from Charlie's Angels.
yes.
So I'm watching her in Charlie's Angels and I'm just like, yeah, she's cool. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh my God. Like, she's completely different. Her acting is completely different.
I think she was also in Shanghai Noon with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since the 90s or whenever it came out. But I would say her story, like Owen and she, arguably more tragic than The Bride.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and the way they do it, like the animation, like, whimper.
And then she holds it back in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And what's, like, I don't like to use this word on this show for everyone because I'm trying to be very positive. At its core, if you want to break it down and simplify it, this is a rape revenge film.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Like, that's exactly what this movie is, but you forget.
And it's just like it horribly as much I don't want to use this word. It really is a film about violence against women.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But it's not. But it's portrayed in that sense of revenge. It's portrayed in that sense of like, this is an injustice that has been done to me, and I will fucking burn this place to the ground. And maybe that's what it was that made me so interested in it, because I'd never seen a film where the female protagonist was like, I will literally massacre anyone who stands in my way to get to the person who fucking destroyed my life.
Well, there's that great line by Sonny Chiba, who plays Hattori Hanzo, and he says, and if you should meet God on your path, then your blade will cut him down as well.
Yeah.
Like, the whole idea, like, it's just full of such cool lines like that.
Yeah.
Like, but I think the reason it works, and I think the reason why it never feels like too much, and the reason it is so appealing to audiences, is that somehow Quentin Tarantino managed to rein it in that area. It's not exploitative. Like, yes, at its core, it does have those themes in it, but you're never like there's no lingering shots. There's no like kind of.
I think the most it becomes uncomfortable
Is it Buck?
Is with Buck.
Yes.
That's probably the area where it most becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But even so, like, that injustice is quenched so quickly with his fucking head caving in the door.
Yeah.
That you go, like it's not like she's taking it's not like she's getting revenge on Buck, and that doesn't happen until the end of the movie. Like, you realize it, and then in the next scene, she's fucking smashing his head.
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, thank you.
And she like bites the guy's lip, the other guy as well.
Yeah.
That guy, I don't know if you remember him, but he's in like a lot of early Adam Sandler movies.
Oh, I can't picture his face right now.
I think his most known role in Adam Sandler film is in The Waterboy, where he plays like a guy's like, is it Bobby Boucher in Waterboy? Where he's like, hey Bobby, was that a joke? That's really funny. That's that guy. Oh, it's pretty good. Like, I mean, look, for its time, like, you might not like it now, but for its time, it was pretty funny. Yeah, the flick is brilliant. And like, my favorite line, and I quote this to you, I would say 5 or 6 times a year.
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm not bald, okay? I'm straight my head.
I thought you were gonna say, you say arigato like we say
arigato. I quote that. I quote it a lot. This movie. Yeah, it's great. Good choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder what like if that's your number 3.
Like you're gonna be like, why the fuck did you choose number 2 as number 2 then? If that's number 3,
I feel like I have a feeling I know one of the movies that's going to come up, because you mentioned before nostalgia and what it meant at the time.
Yeah.
And I know a movie that we saw that I would say you dragged me to, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and you saw multiple times in theaters. I think I know what it could be. We'll see. My number 3 I just rewatched last week and I was like, oh my God, I've watched this every year for the last 3 years now. Why am I not talking about this movie more? It's Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Little
Mhm.
Miss Sunshine is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that's so easily written off as like, oh, it's like a pretentious indie film, or it's a bit of a like. It's
Mm.
one of those ones where like when it came out, because it was an independent film, if you weren't open to independent film, people were like, okay, well, if you like that sort of thing,
Yeah.
um, people are going to roll their eyes at it. But it's such a beautiful movie. Like its humor is very dry, but it is really fun. Um, and it's just like it's just an incredible family dynamic. There's not a bad performance in the bunch.
Mm.
It's so basically it's the sort of this family who low income family trying to make ends meet. Their dad's constantly trying to it's got this kind of like get rich
Yeah.
scheme. He's trying to make money, and in the background, like the wife played by Toni Collette, who's brilliant in it, is just trying to hold the family together. Her brother has just been released from the hospital after trying to kill himself, played by Steve Carell.
Yeah.
In one of his best performances,
Yeah.
he's so good in it. And their youngest daughter, played by Abigail Breslin, accidentally fell into like a teen. What do they call it?
A
Like
talent scout sort of
like a kid
beauty,
pageant,
a beauty pageant,
like a child Miss pageant type thing, and then accidentally got nominated for like a major regional one. But they can't, because they're so poor, they can't afford to fly. So the whole family has to get into their car and drive across country to get to the pageant in like 3 days. Alan Arkin plays their granddad, the late great Alan Arkin, who's fantastic in this. He plays like this kind of like very old school, like macho man. Like you imagine, like in his prime, he was like bare knuckle boxing people.
Yeah.
He doesn't use the right language. Like he's very non PC, very old fashioned the way he talks to people. You got Paul Dano playing the teenage son, who's made a vow of silence because he's been reading.
Wants to be a pilot or something.
Wants to be a pilot and has been reading the philosophical works of Nietzsche and stuff like that. Greg Kinnear plays that. I didn't mention him as well, and he's like such a horrible father right up until the end, and like the ending is so well done. We're like, you know what? I don't know that I forgive him, but he's on the right track now, so I'm glad. Like, there's this heart wrenching scene. I've forgotten all about it, where they pull over to get breakfast, and she wants pancakes with ice cream.
Yep.
And the dad's like, look, you can have it if you want, but ice cream makes you fat. And is Miss America fat? And like the whole family, it's such a beautiful moment where like Steve Carell's like, well, look, if you're not going to have your ice cream, I'm going to have it. And then like all the other family will start eating it. And she's like, no, I want my ice cream. And then like it's played off so well later where at the pageant she meets like the state champion and she's like, do you eat ice cream? And she's like, I sure do. And she's like, Mom, she eats ice cream. I can eat ice cream. So it's really well done. It's such a character piece. So like the story itself, like it's just a road trip movie. Like the overall, like it's nothing kind of world changing, but it's all about the character stuff. It's all the different interactions, how they build off each other, how they're mostly very selfish characters, with the exception of the daughter and the son to a certain degree. But their selfishness is in the right place. They're all trying to make a better life for them. But just if they would just like maybe stop and listen to each other, like they'd have a much better life. But it's just wonderful. It's insanely rewatchable. After I finished watching it the other day, I was like, turn this back on again straight away.
When the brother finds out that he's colorblind, and he can't become a pilot,
and he breaks his vow of silence, he's just like screaming, and he like tells everyone how much he hates them and stuff. Like he's like, you're the worst family. I just want to get out of here. And then like the youngest like comes over and just puts her arm around him, and she's like, anything you need? He's like, nah, it's cool. And he goes back over. He's like, I apologize for what I said. I was in a bad place. And like the grandfather dies like while they're on the road trip, and legally they're not allowed to discharge the corpse without getting like the funeral there. But it's gonna take like 4 hours, and the Little Miss Sunshine pageant's in 2 hours. So when no one's like, they sneak the body out the window and they just like wrap it in a blanket, and he's in the boot of the car.
Isn't she at some point? Isn't she like, granddad's in the boot or something? She tells somebody.
Yeah,
or something at some point. She's like, "Yeah, my granddad's in the boot," or something.
yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah. She does.
Mm.
It's it's just excellent. It's so well done. And then the director of that went on to make another film I just rewatched last night, actually, Ruby Sparks, a number of years later.
I've wanted to watch that.
Oh, it's so good. I could rewatch that one anytime as well. Like it's got Paul Dano in it again. He plays the lead. I'm finding more and more of the years that he's one of my favorite actors. We never really hear people talk about him too much.
Mm.
Following his performance as the Riddler in Batman, hopefully people will, pay more attention. But he's such an understated actor. Like he's very subtle in his performances, unless he has to go over the top. And he's just so natural and believable. Like he's my favorite, second favorite in Living the Sunshine after Steve Carell. Steve Carell is just on a whole other level.
Yeah.
I've been on a bit of a Steve Carell binge lately. I watched The Way Back, where he plays a bit of a villain in that, and I just rewatched Crazy Stupid Love the other day as well, which he's also fantastic in.
Yeah.
So a little bit of Sunshine, I can't recommend it enough. It's such an excellent film, and hopefully people listen to this have seen it. But if not, get on it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Which brings us to
Number 2.
Dos.
Dos. So this film, you're gonna be like, yeah, like I said, from Kill Bill probably needs to be high. It's not exactly in order.
Yeah.
But this film was just a big part of my teenage years, and I just absolutely love it. It's got a great soundtrack as well. Set in the UK, so obviously fell in love with London, fell in love with the UK. It's What a Girl Wants.
That's a great movie.
Isn't it such a great movie?
A Hope or a Binds?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. So for those of you who don't know, it's
before you do, sorry, I just want to say, Amanda Bynes' filmography, maybe one of the best filmographies of all time.
Yeah.
Like What a Girl Wants is great. She's the Man is great.
Yes.
Sydney White is great. It's a real shame what happened to her. Like as she kind of became an adult, she went through a very similar Britney Spears kind of thing, which is really awful. Because she
actually had a conservatorship.
That's what I mean. That was the word I was looking for. So talented, so funny.
Yeah.
Just has a great film record. But anyway, sorry, yes, What a Girl Wants.
Yeah, so basically what happens is that Amanda Bynes lives in Chinatown in LA or something.
Yes.
I think it's LA. And she lives with her mum, and every single year for her birthday she wishes she could meet her dad, who lives back in England, right? And one day she finally goes, you know what? I was 16, she packs up her stuff. She's like, I'm going to go. And so she goes over and she flies over. And she sneaks into she knows that her father is this duke or count or whatever sort of thing like that. So she sneaks onto the grounds and he catches her, and it's played by Colin Firth.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's a father-daughter reuniting story. So she awakens in him the childlike and Americanization of free spirit. You forgot how free you used to be. Now you're this stiff upper lip, and he provides back to her this sense of growing up and all that sort of stuff like that. And the guy she falls in love with, who's the guy? He's the hot guy. You've got IMDb up at the moment.
I do. I'm trying to find it. I'm just looking. Jonathan Pryce is in this. He's also Elizabeth Swann's father in.
Oh yeah, he is in this.
I'm trying to find the hot guy. Is it Oliver James?
Yes, it is Oliver James. I remember that name now. Oliver James. And it's just a funny teen girl quirky movie with a fantastic teen girl soundtrack, and just the backdrop of London. You've got wonderful iconography, double-decker buses, just beautiful, beautiful settings. The whole idea of flying over to a different country and falling in love with this hot guy, this hot British guy who's you need to be yourself, darling. Even though that's totally not his accent. But
it is a little bit Parent Trap as well.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And then her mum flies over and they end up I can't remember if the mom flies over, but either way.
She does because they're talking about it, and because there's a line where she's like, because the guy that she falls in love with is a musician, and she's like, "What is he, a drummer?" Like I was always a sucker for drummers. Yeah. Because wasn't Colin Firth kept like a bit of a muso before?
Yeah, he was.
That was kind of the idea. Yeah. Colin Firth, by the way, just charming and everything.
Yeah.
Like just making the romantic lead in all movies.
Yeah. And so they end up getting like remarried and all this kind of stuff like that, or like not. Well, it's not remarried because it wasn't a legal marriage to begin with. It was just like a ceremony sort of thing like that. And it's just really great. And I remember I had the VHS of it again because I didn't have a DVD player until like the late 2000s. So I just had a VHS tape of it, and I'd sit and I'd watch it. And it'd be like, one day I'm going to go to England and I'm going to meet someone as hot as Oliver James, and I'm going to, like, you know, be on a double-decker bus and The Clash is going to be playing in the background. And just like, it's just a fun movie. You know? It's a really fun movie. And I think it epitomizes the 2000s era really well because it's in the middle of cool Britannia. It's like the fashion sense is totally 2000s, like layered singlet tops.
Yes. Yeah.
2000s.
Also, what's your flavor on the soundtrack? So
yeah, there you go. Exactly.
If you ever need a timestamp in history, Craig David will deliver.
And so I think it just like the reason I put it in there is because I think it encapsulates the 2000s. My experience of the 2000s, high school era really well.
Yeah. It's a great flick. It really is. I love Amanda Bynes and her work. I was just I was going through a new website to watch movies before actually, and I was looking up Amanda Bynes movies. I was like, do they have She's the Man? So I really want to watch She's the Man again. Like that's a great flick. Really underrated flick. Like,
I think I've only seen half of it.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Everything she did was good, man. Like she was such a great actress. And again, very, very funny. And it is a very sweet story as well. So no, that doesn't surprise me. Honestly, like unless it's your number one, which I don't think it will be, I honestly thought you might put Twilight on your list. Like just
Twilight was gonna go in my honorable mentions.
When you said soundtrack, I'm like, the Twilight soundtrack is pretty good actually.
The Twilight soundtrack is pretty good, yeah.
I was wondering if that was going to come up. It has been on the show before. I think Gabby talked about Twilight. So. Yeah. My number two, I know you've been thinking, James, there's been no superhero films on your list yet. What are you doing, you insane person? Well, this is my superhero film. I think it is the best superhero film to come out in the decade, which is a pretty big claim because it's going up against The Dark Knight, which is not being mentioned, and it's going up against Iron Man, which is also not being mentioned. It's Spider-Man 2.
Not our first date movie.
Not our first date movie.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man 2 is brilliant. I think all of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films are excellent. I love 3. I know people have mixed feelings about it, although it seems to have come around and now got a bit of a lot more favor in the last few years. I think especially with like No Way Home and stuff like that, people kind of rediscovered that, okay, it's not perfect, but it does have a lot to enjoy and very helpful with the memes online. People love the Spider-Man 3 memes. But 2, like it builds on 1 so perfectly. Like 1 is a really good origin story, but 2, it's like he's figuring out who he is. He's kind of a little bit more self-assured, but now he's trying to balance the life of being Spider-Man and Peter Parker. And I think Spider-Man 2, above all other Spider-Man films, really executes that dynamic. Like trying to choose between, you know, saving the day and, you know, getting to class on time and getting the girl and stuff like that. And you don't really see that in any of the other movies too much. They kind of toy with it a little bit, but this one really executes it very, very well.
Who's the villain in this?
Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina, and I still think he is the best Spider-Man villain we've seen in the live-action stuff. Because he's such a sympathetic character. Like he's just trying to make the world better for good. And then he becomes this monster. Like he ends up killing his wife. He ends up like becoming this disgraced scientist that no one's going to trust anymore. And then like these arms start to possess him because they've got kind of, I guess, like a pre-AI type mindset where they've kind of contaminated his own mind. it's in an age before we're using a ton of visual effects. So yes, there is CGI, but there's a lot of practical stuff, including the octopus arms. Like there's
Yeah.
that great scene where he robs the bank and then he climbs up the building and Spider-Man's trying to save Aunt May from Doc Ock. And he's like throwing money bags at him and stuff. And so much of that is practical. It's great. Kirsten Dunst is really good as Mary Jane. I always felt like she got a bit of a bad rap for whatever reason. People didn't seem to like her. But I actually think she's really good in it because she's also trying to make her way as an actress. She's trying to, she loves Peter, but Peter doesn't have time for us. She's like, I guess I'll go with Harry. So that's all going on. You've got James Franco as Harry Osborn. I think it's his best performance as Harry Osborn as well. He's playing that really torn nature where he knows Spider-Man killed his dad in the first movie, but he doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man yet. He's still trying to figure all that out. Joel McHale is in that movie for about 3 minutes. He plays the bank teller who won't open up an account for Aunt May. And then she's like, well, at least I get the free toaster. And he's like, no, you don't. Who else is in it? It's a great cast. Did I already say that I think Doc Ock is the best villain? I didn't yet. At least in that trilogy. In the latest series, I think that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin really shines. He's really good later on. It's got the train sequence. It's one of the best sequences of any superhero film ever, where he's trying to slow down the train and it's not working. And then, he ends up getting, his mask off and stuff. And that's the one thing that is funny. He's just a kid. It's like, Tobey Maguire's 40.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's not, but, he's definitely not a kid. You've got the introduction of, I think it's Ursa, the neighbor, the guy who's a grunt. Then his daughter, who's always hitting on him. And she's like, do you want some cake, Peter? I hope MJ calls. And why are you chasing MJ? This girl clearly, all she wants to do is feed you chocolate cake and see how you are. You're chasing the wrong girl. It's just, I'm trying to think, if I'm missing any, there's obviously so much to unpack in it. Oh, my goodness. There's the whole fact that he loses his powers because he's dealing with too much.
Oh, yeah.
He can't, he has to make the choices. You know what? I tried being Spider-Man, but I need to get my life on track. I'm missing those glasses. Every time I swing, I run out of webs. I'm done being Spider-Man. He throws his suit in the garbage.
That's right, he does.
And and then he ends up kind of getting better at everything. He's being a better boyfriend to MJ. He's getting all his scores and stuff like that. But then obviously Doc Ock's still at large. He's damn, I've got to go back. And if you've ever watched the extended cut, I don't know if you have, there's this scene where the Daily Bugle reporters find the Spider-Man suit in the trash can, so they bring it back to J. Jonah Jameson, and he puts it on. So there's a scene where he's...
I don't think I've seen it, but I think you've told me about it.
There's a scene where you've got J.K. Simmons in a Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's so weird and out of place, but it just works. It is excellence at its most peak form. It's just all superhero films should strive to do what this film has done. I love it so much. And then you've got that classic ending where MJ's going to marry someone else, and then she ends up leaving the wedding and shows up to Peter's apartment in a wedding dress. And she says the famous line from the comics from the 60s, which says, "Go get him, Tiger." They kiss, and then you hear the sirens, and he's like, "What do I do?" And she's like, "Go get him." And then you're like, "Yes, he's back. Spider-Man is back."
Yeah.
It's great. As I'm talking about it, I'm like, I like all these films, but now I want to go watch Spider-Man 2 again. It's wonderful. That's my number 2.
Nice.
So what is number 1 for you? Your number 1 of all time from the 2000s, except for the stuff we also really liked that we didn't get a chance to talk about.
All right. Well, I'm just trying to think of how to introduce it.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
All I can say is that
Sorry.
I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Of course.
So obviously it has to be Mean Girls.
Yep.
Because Mean Girls is just so iconic. Absolutely iconic. I don't think there is a movie from the 2000s era that is as quoted as Mean Girls is.
It's pretty strong.
1 billion quotes. So many quotes. I'm a mouse. Duh. And that's why her head's so big. It's full of secrets. Go for Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. And apparently, I found out the other day,
I told you this.
Oh, you told me this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you repeated that. You tell me.
The Glen Coco was the name of one of.
Tina
I was going to
Fey.
call her Liz Lemon. One of Tina Fey's like brother's friends, so she just threw it in there, and she's like, "I kind of ruined his life because
Yes.
everyone's always saying to him, you
Go
go,
for Glen Coco, you go, Glen Coco.
What's a nice wig, Janice? What's it made of? Your mum's chest hair."
And I liked I've heard this theory that Regina George didn't realize that, like, because there's a line in the movie that Janice says and she goes, "I'm Lebanese."
Yes,
and
I've heard this theory.
The theory is that Regina heard that and she thought it meant lesbian. And that's why it's the whole, like, I can't have a lesbian at my pool party. There's
Yeah.
going to be girls in their bathing suits. It is just such a good movie.
So good.
It's so good. It's so funny. The way that it is set up and like, it's almost like a heist movie.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's almost like a heist movie.
It is, yeah.
Because it's all about bringing down Regina.
Ocean's 11, Mean Girls.
So they will sit and they congregate and they figure out how we're going to bring down Regina. You got to get rid of our army of skanks. You got to, like, get rid of the hot boyfriend and all this kind of stuff like that. And just like it's obviously, like, Tina Fey's writing is very, very clever and very well done. But just the delivery, like, not just Lindsay Lohan's delivery, but
that's her name. I couldn't remember her name. I was like, Liz?
No,
Liz Lemon on the mind.
Lemon on the mind.
I would put her in the same camp as Amanda Bynes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hugely underrated.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing is, I just had her name. Rachel McAdams.
Yes.
Rachel McAdams did this movie and The Notebook in the same year.
Yeah, she was like 24 or something when she did this. And so she had to, like, but she does look like a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, like, the thing that's, like, so amazing. Her performance as Regina is so good.
This is a flick, again, with not a bad performance in it. Like, everyone, like, Amanda Seyfried is so
That's her breakout role.
So, yeah, like, that's her first role.
Yeah.
So funny. Lacey Chabert, who plays... who's the one who's like, we should totally stab Brutus?
Gretchen Wieners.
It's just so totally stab Caesar. Yeah, she's great. I'm having a blank over. Tim Meadows as the principal is excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
When he walks in on her with, like, a bras out, I got divorced. I win.
I love it when he's like, my nephew's name is Anthony. Not Anthony. Anthony.
I bet you that. I feel like because Tim Meadows was also an SNL guy, I thought that was like an ad lib.
No, I've listened to a Off Ladies podcast and he was on it. And he was talking about that line because obviously Jenna Fisher and Tim Meadows are in the new Mean Girls remake.
As is oh my gosh, I keep going to say Liz Lemon, Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, yeah. And he was talking about that Anthony line, but I think it was. I can't remember if he said it was ad libbed or scripted. I can't remember what he said. I'll have to re-listen to the podcast.
You've got Lizzie Kaplan as Janice. I think that might be her breakout role as well. And she's such a wonderful actress. Like, she's so good. Kevin G.
Like a baby prostitute. Oh, yeah. Kevin G. Oh, my God, I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
So good. So funny. And just, like, that really, like, I mean, to the point where obviously, they've created the Mean Girls musical and now this Mean Girls the musical movie, sort of thing like that. And the very fact, like, in the trailer, it's like, this is not your mum's Mean Girls. And in order to be a mum, like I'm a mum, but my daughter is 3.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously 3-year-olds aren't going to go see it. So the maths
unless she's the 3-year-old from the first Mean Girls.
Yeah.
It's like doing all the sexy
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Amy Poehler. Amy Poehler in the movie as well. So that maths doesn't make sense. Yeah. But it's true. Like, it's such an iconic movie. It's so grounded in female culture. Like I was teaching my year 10. Like this movie came out. What year did the movie come out?
2004. Yep.
It is 20 years old. This movie
Yeah.
is 20 years old. I was teaching my year 10 drama class this week, and I showed them a still from the Mean Girls musical, not the movie, the musical. And I said, put up your hand if you've seen Mean Girls. Every single one of them had put up their hand. And I said, do you think these costumes, because we were talking about costumes, do you think these costumes are an accurate representation? And one of the girls puts up her hand. She goes, no, it is not an accurate representation. Regina George would never wear pants. She would never wear skinny jeans because that is not like fetch and all this kind of stuff. Oh, well, she didn't say fetch, but like, do you know what I mean? And she was like, this is what I would dress her in. She would wear this and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, it just goes to show you how ongoing this legacy of Mean Girls is. And okay, there's probably bits of it that are a bit problematic at this point in time, but it was made in 2004. But it's really quite feminist. It's very feminist.
I don't know. Like, because it's a morality story.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the way they talk to each other and treat each other, I don't know if there is too much that has aged poorly. The one joke or the one thing they can't really get away with was they use the R word quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, none of us are proud of it. It's pretty commonly used in the 2000s.
Yeah,
like
unfortunately.
Yeah. But like even like the joke about like Janice saying that what's the guy's name? The gay guy's name? Not Daniel. That's the actor's name.
Damien.
She talks like jokes about him being too gay to function, like stuff like that. I don't think that's like I've got I've got gay friends. But Michael, who's been on the show, he's gay. He's from Utah, and he loves Mean Girls. And he loves Damien. He loves Janice and stuff like that. So, and he talked about Mean Girls. It was in his top 5 favorite films as well.
Oh, there you go.
So he talked about it very lovingly. Yeah. So,
and just like,
so if you think it's wrong, take it up with him because I'm not defending it. He just said it. Listen to me throw my friends under the bus.
Like I will quote Mean Girls. Like I have a pair of Mean Girls socks.
Yeah.
I will quote Mean Girls probably at least once every 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, it is that just relatable to what's going on in real life, and it's just hilarious.
Well, I guess like it's really so relatable.
You love Ladysmith Black Mambazo.
I guess it's so relatable for you because when you saw it the first time, you were in high school, and now
I teach in high school.
Yeah. So you see,
you see things like not change and just stay the same, basically.
Why are you dressed so scary?
It's Halloween.
One of my favorite ones, and this one I quote to you all the time, is like, "Oh my God, she's so annoying." Who is this? Gretchen. Right. Give me a second. Oh my God, she's so annoying. I know, get rid of her. Yeah. And then I normally quote that to you after encountering someone who is annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll always do this. She doesn't even go here.
I just have a lot of feelings.
I can't help it if I have a heavy flow and a wide set vagina. The way she says vagina. It's just a brilliant movie. And it's like if you were to ask someone what's one of the movies, like what's an easily identifiable movie from the 2000s, like it would, like so many people would say Mean Girls.
100%,
Mean Girls.
Yeah, I think we touched on it briefly in the 50th episode, but we didn't get to a huge deep dive on it. And I rewatched it again last year, and the flick is just... It's one of those movies where I remember when it came out, it was one of those movies like, I'm not going to watch that. It clearly says girl in the title. It's quite not for me. It's one of the ones that I had to take a little while to get convinced to watch. And when I finally sat down, I was like, oh, so I'm an idiot. Like, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. And again, like, this thing came up recently. I saw online, one of the podcasts I follow. So we were talking about Madam Web earlier. And apparently... there's another Spider-Man film coming out that's not Spider-Man because Sony keep making Spider-Man films about Spider-Man in the next year or so about Silk, the character Silk, Cindy Moon. And apparently a news story broke where Sony were like, we're redeveloping the script so it's more appealing to a male audience because men want to see these movies. Yeah. And so there's this whole debate going on. They're like, is that true? Is that true what men want to see? Because that's the argument that Ghostbusters made in 2016 when Melissa McCarthy Kristen Wiig Ghostbusters came out, they're like,
Mm.
it failed because women were in it. And it's like, that's not true. That's studios just backpedaling us as a species and being like, oh, if women are looking enjoyable. It's like when you have movies like Mean Girls,
Yeah.
like this is proof that it doesn't matter who the stars are, who the cast is, and what
Yeah.
gender they are. It matters that what matters is the script and the performance. The reason Mean
Well,
Girls,
yeah, the boys in my class had seen the movie.
Mm.
20-year-old movie. They had seen this movie.
the reason Mean Girls has longevity is because it's good.
Yeah.
It's well written. It's well performed. It's a strong like. It is a majority female cast, but there's not a single person in that movie I would recast.
Yeah.
There's not a single person in that film where I'm like, oh, I don't know about them. Like, it's just well executed. It just frustrates me that in 2024, we're still having this conversation.
Yeah, I know, right?
And like blaming poor box office results on the fact that it wasn't men in the cast.
Yeah.
It's like, that's dumb. And so backwards. It's ridiculous. Like, Madam Web hasn't done well because you didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know what movie you were making. And again, I liked Madam Web. I'm not saying it, but if the studio's going to throw this movie under the bus, like, just take ownership of your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, market it correctly. Don't keep rewriting it like throughout the process of making the film. Like, don't do. Yeah. Anyway.
Didn't even Dakota Johnson say that when she signed on, the script was like drastically different?
Yes.
Like she was like she said she goes, it was drastic. Like she was like, I'm not sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
It was completely.
People
for a completely different.
People
movie.
are in love with Dakota Johnson's press tour because she's just been real about everything. Like, she opened up about her appearance in The Office because she's in the finale.
Who was she in The Office?
Well, exactly. So she's in the finale of The Office, and I think it was Seth Meyers was like, "How was that? Like, you're such a big fan." I think it was Seth Meyers because I know you're such a big fan. And she goes, "Honestly, it was like the worst time of my life. It sucked." She's like, "Because I thought I was just going to be going on there for like, maybe half a day or whatever, shoot some bits." She goes, "I was there for 2 weeks. No one talked to me because they were all like tight knit, and like everyone was over it because like the show was wrapping up. They just wanted to get to the end of it. So no one talked to me. I was eating lunch by myself." And then you look at the episode, I mean, all the background scenes, I've got almost no dialogue. Like, what was the point?
Who
She plays the new receptionist, I think, or like secretary to Dwight. Like,
okay.
Yeah, she's in the. It's after. Yeah, it's like in the second part, the months later bit, like when the documentary's about when the right before Dwight's wedding, she's like in the office there, and she replaced someone in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been getting real about a few things, including the Madam Web script. But yeah, anyway, we've got sidetracked. Mean Girls is excellent.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. That's all you got to say about that in the words of Forrest Gump?
I guess so.
Then
what's your number one?
My number one is hands down one of my favorite films of all time. Its predecessor is in my top 5 movies of all time, but I would say, upon reflection over the last couple of years, I think this actually not only is one of my favorite films of the 2000s, it's also probably replaces its predecessor of my favorite film of all time. It's Clerks 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's probably also been the last time I mentioned a Kevin Smith film. I love all of his films. It's probably the last of his films to enter a top 5. I've talked about Dogma. I've talked about Clerks. I've talked about Red State, I think.
So you're saying Clerks 2 is now surpassing Clerks 1 as your favourite film?
I think so because the context provided with Clerks 3 changes everything.
Okay.
The one thing I love about the trilogy, about the series of films, is that it's a snapshot of the lives of these characters. It's not trying to one-up anything. It's not like when, like, in Iron Man, she's like, we need more Iron Man to fight Iron Man. It's just like, hey, this is what they're doing now. It's just very much a representation of how life is. Like, hey, what are my friends doing now 10 years later? Oh, okay, like now they're working in fast food. It's probably his funniest film.
Yeah.
I think it's so wittily written. The character of Elias is a stroke of genius, bringing in this weird, like, 16-year-old Christian boy into the mix of Dante and Randall is such beautiful chaos. Like, because he becomes like this punching bag for Randall, but also, like, that's the only way Randall knows how to express his love. Like, he doesn't know any better, so he just ridicules him all the time because he's super into Jesus and the Transformers, and that's about it. You've got Rosario Dawson, who, by Kevin Smith and Scott Mosiers' own admittance, is far too good to be in a Clerks movie. Like how she ended up there is crazy, but she's so good. She's so natural and engaging and wonderful in it. The two leads, Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson, are really great in it. Like they never really got much of a career after Clerks because it was Clerks. Like people saw it and like, oh, it's like this fun little indie film that was made for $27,000.
Yeah.
There's no stars in this thing. And I think that was really unfair because whilst, they might not be earning Academy Awards with their performances, I think they are quite different to what you see in films. They bring
Yeah.
something out, interesting. And like especially like Jeff Anderson in this film, like he gets all the best jokes in all of the film. He's so funny in it. Who else? It's filled with cameos, which is excellent. Like you got Ben Affleck coming back and Jason Lee, all the regulars. Jay and Silent Bob in a new kind of. I'm really struggling with words today. I'm really struggling. They're kind of in a new phase of their life where they're born again Christians. They've just got out of.
I saw Clerks 2 like
once.
I'd say I've seen it once, and I'd say it was probably about 14 years ago.
It would be in the first 6 months of a state.
Yeah.
Because I was showing you all my favorite films. They're born again Christians who just got out of jail, but they're still drug dealers.
Yeah.
And basically, it's the story of Dante's last day working at movies. So the quick stop where they worked at in the first film has burnt down because Randall accidentally left the toaster on overnight.
Yeah.
So he burnt and he blames it on Al Qaeda at first because it's a post 9/11 movie. So he's like terrorism, and they're like, and he goes, I left the toaster oven on, didn't I? So they're stuck now working in a movies, and it's Dante's last day because he's gotten engaged to this woman who's going to take him out of New Jersey, bring him down to Florida, and he's going to finally get his life on track. But what we find out is that Dante isn't so much in love with her as he is in love with the idea of finally getting out of New Jersey.
Yeah.
But who he's really in love with is Becky, played by Rosario Dawson. And Randall is in this really kind of weird place because his whole life is about to change because the only person he cares about, although he can't admit it, is about to leave his life forever, and he's really struggling with that. Yeah. And he's like, my best friend is now going to be the 16-year-old boy who loves Jesus and Transformers.
Yeah.
Again, like a lot of the stuff on my list, it is very like politically incorrect, especially by today's standards. Some of the stuff you could not get away with. Like there's a very funny piece on racial slurs, and it's not. The whole idea is that Randall is wrong. Like, and that's the point of it. Like, Randall makes a comment, and I'm not going to repeat it, obviously. And everyone's like, "What are you doing? Like, you can't say that." And then goes this whole diatribe about what is a racial slur, and it's so. Again, you could not put it in a movie today.
Right.
But I watched it last year, and I'm like, it's still funny because it's the way it's written is objectively, this guy is an idiot. It's wrong. You can laugh at it. It's okay. It's weird. Like it's coming of age story about two guys in their 30s.
Yeah. Which
you don't really see. Like coming of age stories tend to be in their teens.
That's right.
But it's so funny. It's very poignant. It has a lot. It has the most heart out of the three movies, which I really like. I like it when Kevin Smith gets sentimental, which I know most Kevin Smith fans don't like.
Oh, really?
Most people like.
I think he's very good at sentimentality.
People tend to like Clerks. They like Mallrats. They like Chasing Amy. Chasing Amy is quite sentimental, but it's also very full on. And Dogma. And they like the Jay and Silent Bob stuff. But when he gets sentimental, like Clerks 2, Jersey Girl, that's my jam. Like when he gets really heartfelt. That's why I like Clerks 3 so much, even though I know a lot of people didn't. But like I think that this movie is, of the trilogy, perfection. Like it's just so well put together. And it's right before Kevin Smith had to kind of like, not that he had to clean up his act, but comedy was changing.
Yeah.
So it's the last, I think, truly like kind of unhinged, unrestrained Kevin Smith film as well in terms of jokes, because he just goes for it and it lands it. Like every joke lands for me, but you couldn't put any of those jokes in a movie today. He could not make Clerks 2 today. That's why Clerks 3 is very tame in comparison. But I just think it's an excellent film.
So what happens in Clerks 3 to impact Clerks 2?
Well, Clerks 3, spoilers for Clerks 3 for anyone listening who hasn't seen it yet. And I've told you about it. I remember after I saw it, like 2 days later, I'm like, can I talk to you about Clerks 3? Because I'm really struggling with it.
Mm.
Dante dies in Clerks 3.
Oh, yes.
So
that's
what
right.
happens is the Clerks 3 opens and Randall has a heart attack because he's now in his 40s. He has a heart attack and he survives. And he's like, I have been wasting my life. I need to do something with my life. I'm going to make a movie. And it's basically the story of Clerks, how Kevin Smith made a movie.
Yeah.
And like what we find out is that Dante married Becky at the end of Clerks 2. But between Clerks 2 and Clerks 3, Becky died in a car accident and she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So Dante's life is ruined.
Mm.
And he's just like, I've been living, like, he goes, this whole thing's like, I don't know why I'm here anymore.
Mm.
Like, everything I cared about is gone.
Mm.
And I'm here with my best friend, and he's so self-involved because he's living on the high of surviving a heart attack.
Mm.
But, like, and I'm so glad he's alive, but why am I here? Like, I've been miserable and, like, empty for 10, 15 years. Like, what's the point of all of this? So it is very dark and very poignant and stuff like that.
So then how does Dante die?
Heart attack.
Oh, my God.
But, like, they set up at the very start, like, it turns out because, like, yeah, like, Randall's been, like, in a convenience store his whole life eating junk food and, like, being very sedentary. And so the doctor's, like, says, like, this is why it happened. And Dante's like, oh, I'll make sure he, like, eats a vegetable. And she's like, you too. If you guys work together, then you're probably in the same situation. And you forget about that line. And at the end, the same thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so beautiful. Like, again, like, maybe the most beautiful thing Kevin Smith has ever shot. Like, Randall is in the hospital bed with Dante. He's holding his hand. And he's like, I need you to get through this. I need you. You can't, like, leave me. And he's showing him the movie that they've been making for the whole movie. But then when it cuts to Dante's point of view, he's sitting in a movie theater and he's watching clips from all the Clerks films. And then Rosario Dawson walks in and sits with him.
Because he's already died.
He's already died.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, he's like, I'm so glad you made it. Like, let's get out of here. And she's like, you sure? Like, you don't want to finish the movie? Because I've seen this one. He goes, and it's his best movie. It's his best work.
Yeah.
And then, like...
Oh, my God, that's making me well up.
Yeah. And I really struggle with it because I'm like, oh, my God, like, I've been living with these movies for 20 years. And, like, when Iron Man died in Avengers, I was, like, obviously, I was sad about it. Like, I think I definitely cried in the cinema. But I was like, yeah, but, like, it's a superhero film. But this is, like, just a story about a couple of guys who work. And, like, what really got me, like, that was really sad, but what really got me is then, like, Randall eulogizes him. And I was like, how dare you use that line and be so effective with it? When he's eulogizing, because I don't really know what to say, so I'll just quote you. And that's that you're not even supposed to be here today. Like, and is like, you shouldn't be dead. And, like, that messed me up. I was like, oh, my God. So because it is so heartbreaking and because it is such a sad ending and because the first movie is not a light movie. Like, I like the first movie, but it's very, like...
I just remember the guy with the milk.
Yeah.
The first movie, the guy in the milk fridge.
But the first movie is a very aggressive movie. Not aggressive as in, like... Again, it's a very frustrated film about two people in their 20s and they don't know what they're doing and so they just lash out at everyone. It's very funny, but it is also quite bitter. Or like, bitter's not even the right word, but it's very, like... There's not a lot of warmth to it.
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of jerks.
Yeah.
So 2 is, like, this perfect, like, moment in their lives between 1 and 3 where it's like, oh, like, there's this warmth about them. Like, they're warm, loving characters. They're fleshed out. We know a bit more about them. Yeah, they make mistakes, but they're okay. So, like, because of everything that happens in 3, it kind of made me realize how harsh 1 is. I'm like, you know what? 2 is the happy place for me in the trilogy. Definitely spent a lot more time talking about Clerks 2 and Clerks 3 than I meant to. But yeah, it's excellent. And if you like really filthy jokes, like Clerks 2 has plenty of them. They do a great bit on Lord of the Rings as well, because Randall thinks they're really boring. They're just 3 movies about walking.
Yeah.
That's really funny as well. And he makes a Lord of the Rings nerd throw up.
The only thing I actually remember, like, can remember, I do... Like, when you were talking about, like, Eli and stuff like that, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. The only thing I, like, vividly remember, I think about this all the time.
Oh, really?
Probably every time I cook an egg.
Oh, yeah.
The bowl of egg and, like, cutting the slices of egg.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck is that? Like, as if that exists in America. Just a roll of egg.
I mean, I don't know if it does or what it was just made for the movie. I guess like it's based on something.
It's got to be based on something. I don't know. I just was like,
But it is also a fictional fast food restaurant, so
Yeah.
it could be a fictional product.
that's
I don't
true.
know.
It could be.
Um,
I thought you told me that existed in America.
I don't know. Like possibly, maybe I knew and I forgot.
But yeah, I always think of
But yeah, so those are my top 5. Those are your top 5. I think pretty good lists. I'm pretty happy
Mhm.
with them. And again, if we took more time, I'm sure we'd find 5 completely different films that would also be equally.
Yeah.
It's such a great decade. And this is only the second episode on the 2000s, so there's so many more great films to talk about, unless everyone picks Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
and Dark Knight, which is possible.
Should we go through honorable mentions?
Oh yeah, do you want to go through? I've only got a couple.
I've got a lot.
So Sin City, I mentioned at the start of the episode.
mhm.
I love Sin City. It's
Such
a
a good movie.
really good flick.
Yeah.
And obviously it marks a very poignant moment in my life where I discovered the idea of going to the movies by myself.
Mm.
But the other 5 I think are slightly more rewatchable. Inglourious Basterds, I mentioned as well, would easily be my top 5, but I talked about it on the show before. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I really like.
Yeah.
I really like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Of the Apatow era of comedies, I think it's my favorite. Yeah. That's the other accent you can still do. You can do Dracula and you can do Borat. I got a surprise for you.
I love I think it's recently become sort of meme-fied, but I really enjoy that Russell Brand quote of like, yeah, I was going to, but then I just went on living my life.
Yeah. And 40-Year-Old Virgin I put in as well.
Oh yeah.
And there's plenty more I could have, but I just couldn't think of anything else like right before we were recording. So what are some of yours?
Well, I had Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Hot Fuzz is amazing, but I couldn't put it in the top 5 list because we talk about it like so much.
Yeah, like it would be on every one of my lists. Exactly. It's my favorite movie of the 90s, even though it hasn't come out yet. Because Edgar Wright was alive in the 90s, so Hot Fuzz was probably in his brain in the 90s. Therefore, but yeah.
Harry Potter, obviously, like all the Harry Potter movies.
We did 2 whole episodes on Harry Potter,
exactly,
so
we don't need to talk about Harry Potter. Along with that is also Lord of the Rings, because, obviously it's amazing.
We probably will come back and do a Lord of the Rings episode, because we watched all the Rings and Hobbit movies last year. We were going to do a retrospective on it, we just didn't get a chance to. But we've got, I haven't said anything on the show yet, but we do have some stuff coming up in the second half of the year where we're probably going to need to generate a lot more content, you and I, so that'll probably let me do that,
The Notebook is fantastic. You haven't seen it, have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
oh, you have?
Yeah, I've seen it once.
Oh, okay, yeah. What did you think?
I really liked it. Yeah. But it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's
Ryan Gosling,
Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams. It's just beautiful. And every time you talk about wanting a house that has like a veranda, I'm like, Notebook, wraparound porch.
Yeah.
So Notebook. Amelie.
Yes.
Obviously, because Amelie is one of my most favorite movies.
Amelie. That was in your top 5 of all time.
Yes. Well, see, that was the thing. Amelie was number 2 of tonight's list, but I was like, I can't put it in there because I've already.
Well, you could if you wanted.
I know, but I've already spoken about it, so I didn't.
I rewatched that last year, and that flick is great.
Isn't it so good?
So fun.
So fun. I was even today, like it just like little things make me think about it. Even today, I was playing with Zoe, and she had her big bowl of beads, and we were putting our hands in it and just grabbing all the beads, and like it tickles your hands when you do that. It's like the sensation of putting your hands in the bowl of beads. And so I said to her, I was like, think about that feeling, think about how it feels. And it just made me think of when Amelie sinks her hands into grains of like beans and things like that, just for the feeling of it. 300?
Yeah.
How good is 300?
Do you know what? As you said 300, I also was like, oh, Watchmen.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're both Zack Snyder films. 300 is great.
300 is fucking awesome.
That's one of Michael Fassbender's first movies.
Is it really?
He's in it.
Oh, wow.
He's got long blonde hair.
Does he play?
Like Aurelius or something. I'll find out. No, that's Colin Firth's love interest in Love Actually.
Yeah.
Aurelia. Dearest Aurelia.
But yeah, no, 300 is awesome. 300 is really good. Inglourious Basterds I also had as well.
He plays Stelios.
Okay.
I'll get a picture of what you're doing.
Yeah, that would be helpful. There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
How good is
I
There Will Be
drink
Blood?
your
Oh, I
milkshake.
drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
I'm
And even though
finished.
we've only seen it once, like, so, like, it won the Academy Award, didn't it? For best film.
I think so. I want to say it did.
Because I know it was in that year where it was like up for so many nominations alongside No Country for Old Men.
And True Grit.
Yeah, and so every nomination you heard was like blah 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 for There Will Be Blood, blah 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 for No Country for Old Men, and like that's all it was that year. It was just those two films basically. And I do like No Country for Old Men, but There Will Be Blood is just, I don't know, because it's more of a period piece. I find it more engaging.
I remember There Will Be Blood a lot better than No Country for Old Men.
Same. So do I.
So that might be why you prefer it as well. Because I remember we were watching There Will Be No Country for Old Men. I think it was a lot later at night because I remember I was getting sleepy, and it wasn't that I didn't like the movie. I was just
getting tired.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge.
Oh, Moulin Rouge. Yeah.
Moulin Rouge is so good. Like, it is such a beautiful movie. The costumes, the set pieces, oh my God, amazing. And all the songs are brilliant.
Yes, the Elephant Love Medley, I think I've talked about before.
Yeah, it's like one of your favorites.
I used to sing it in the editing suite in high school.
Yeah. Like, it's such a fantastic
He might not have
movie.
blonde hair, but there he is. With
okay, yes. Yeah. That definitely looks like Michael Fassbender.
That is Michael Fassbender, yeah. I was struggling to find any other picture of him.
Yeah. Snatch.
You can land a jumbo jet in that, Tyrone.
It's too tight, Tyrone. You can land a bloody jumbo jet in that spot.
Like dogs? Yeah, like dogs. Like caravans more.
Snatch is so good.
I've only seen it once.
I think I've only seen it maybe twice.
Oh, there we go. That's much better. That's clearly Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. That's
with his long Jesus hair.
Yeah, that's right. So Snatch is just brilliant. Departed is brilliant. I mean, good. I've only seen it one time. I barely remember any of it, but I do remember absolutely loving it.
Since COVID, I've watched it, I think, once a year. It's so good. Like,
And the last one I had on my list was Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one.
Isn't that so fun? It's not like a full movie because it's only like 45 minutes, isn't it? Or an hour?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know if it is a feature. Because there's 3 parts. I thought there were I thought they were half an hour each, but they might be like 15, 20 minutes each.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's listed. They're calling it a mini series, but I wouldn't it was just broken up into parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah. And just like really great songs, really funny. Nathan Fillion is so good in it. Like, I mean, we know Nathan Fillion is good in
do you remember my Nathan Fillion phase?
Yes.
Where I was like, yes, I do. I was obsessed with him. Like, he's so, like, he's just, again, like, I've talked about, like, in the past, like, how Rosario Dawson in Another World would have, like, an Oscar-worthy career. Like, she'd just be, like, nominated. And I feel like Nathan Fillion's the same. Like, for some reason, he's just not in a lot of movies. Like, he's in...
I think he's in a lot of movies, but he's not big parts.
Well, he did, like he was in, obviously, Castle for 8 years.
Yes.
And he's in The Rookie now. I don't know if you know about that one, but that's a cop show he's in as well.
Yeah.
He lost a bunch of weight. Like, he's very, like he used to be quite broad and never overweight, but it's broad. No. And now he's quite, like, I don't want to say gaunt, but, like, he's got a very, like, narrow, like, very defined jawline and stuff like that. He was in Guardians 3 this year, or last year. That was another movie you saw. And he's going to be playing Green Lantern in Superman Legacy next year. Yeah.
Oh, he'll be a good Green Lantern.
Well, he's been the fan cast for over a decade. It was like him. He voiced him in a couple of animated ones. He's not playing Hal Jordan, though. He's playing Guy Gardner, who's been known. He's like an older Green Lantern.
Oh, okay.
And he's kind of like a jerk. Like, no one really likes him. But I think he'll do well. But yeah, like, he's just always been in stuff. And he's been the lead in stuff. Like, he was the lead in Slither, which he's really good in. He was in Super. He's always good. He had Firefly, obviously. But for whatever reason,
that's right.
I think what happened was he broke in Firefly. And that was in a time where people were like, oh, he's a TV actor.
Yes, that's right.
Because crazily enough, there was a time where people were like, oh, well, there's TV actors and there's movie actors.
That's right.
Like, Nicolas Cage is the same. Like, he's never done TV because he's like, I'm a film actor. But if you do both, you get
Yeah.
to do more stuff. But I
Yeah.
think he got pigeonholed early, but he's wonderful.
Well, it's like you hardly remember that Daniel Radcliffe is a TV actor too.
David Copperfield?
No, Miracle Workers.
That's true.
Yeah.
He was in Miracle Workers. I guess
And
like,
Miracle Workers is still going.
oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Is he still in it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They did a 4th season? Because I didn't watch the Oregon Trail one.
No. There's a Mad Max one now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I really want to watch it.
that would actually.
But we don't have Stan anymore.
Oh yeah, because Stan was not good. That would probably get me back into it actually, because I loved the first season.
Yeah.
Did not really care for the second season.
Well, the problem that I had with Miracle Workers was that the whole plot of it was like Steve Buscemi was God. He was going to redo Earth. And then these miracle workers, that's what they are. They're they're angels. And they like create miracles around the world and stuff like that. They were going to save the Earth, right?
Mm.
And then season 2 was just a completely different story. And that's what they do. So every single season,
it's an anthology show, yeah.
So it's a completely different story with just like the same actors in it, which is fine. But
That
like,
is cool.
I really loved the concept of Steve Buscemi is God and like all these guys are angels. And Daniel Radcliffe is like this really shit. Like he works in like
he's like an auditor. He's just like looking
basically
at like,
he's like moving this leaf. It takes him like 4 years to move a leaf.
Yeah.
On Earth.
And well, that show actually season 4 has finished. So
yeah, it finished ages ago.
It introduced us to Geraldine. I'm gonna butcher her name, but Viswanathan. Who was in?
She's in the Madam Web.
No, she's not.
Okay, what is it then?
I don't think she's
she's in the other new one.
She's in Blockers.
Yeah, but she's in that new one that's coming out.
Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah.
The new Coen brothers or
yes,
what are they
that's
called?
Right.
But yeah, she was in Blockers, which I love. I love Blockers so much. She's fantastic in it. Karen Sony, who's been in the Deadpool movies. This guy, I can't remember what I've seen him in. John Bass, but he's very funny.
Yeah, we've seen him and stuff.
Yeah, he is in Baywatch. That's right. I think he was. That's right. He was the jerk in She-Hulk. The one. Yeah. I wouldn't mind watching that 4th season because that at least sounds. I had no interest in the Oregon Trail one. I didn't like the Camelot one at all. Really, I was just it was fine. But I agree with you. The first thing, like, this is cool. Let's do more of this, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
like Russell Crowe in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
No, I was like, oh, well, fine. I think we might have said everything we have to say about the 2000s. What a great list.
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for coming back on the show. It's been a minute since you come on. But as I said, the second half of this year, we haven't talked too much about it yet, but I imagine you'll be making many appearances on the show.
Yes, I probably will.
Thank you everyone for listening for the show again this week. For those who are interested in supporting the show, you can jump on to Instagram, follow I Was a Teenage Film Snob _ between every single word. I post pretty regularly. I've been a little bit off the last week because I've been sick, but I normally do a weekly update video to let you know what's going on. If you send me messages, I will respond. I'm pretty good with that sort of stuff. I've been doing some trivia to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, so you can find all those in my... can't remember what they're called now, but there's like my favorites or whatever. What are they called?
Reels?
Yeah, but there's like a thing you can do. You collate all your reels together. I can't remember.
Saved reels?
Yeah, there's like saved reels. I don't know what they're called. But you can check out all the trivia there and have some fun with it. I might be doing more of that later. If you haven't listened to the 2-year anniversary episode yet, go back. It came out last week. Maddie hosted it. It was a lot of fun. And if you want to support the show financially, you can head to tpublic.com, search for I Was a Teenage Film Snob, or go into my links on Instagram. It's all in there. First-time purchasers get 20% off. I don't really make any money off it, but it's just about getting the word out. And the T-shirts are great. They're comfy. They look awesome. Josh designed them. So go and get yourself a I Was a Teenage Film Snob T-shirt. T-shirt? A shirt. But that's it. As I said, thank you again to my wonderful guest, Tina. We'll have someone again next week, fingers crossed. Otherwise, it'll be me alone, and that's still all right. But until then, as I say every week, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.